won't let me go through. Good morning. Good morning. Do that again.
Good morning.
I'd like to call the August 19th, 2025 hearing of the Assembly Elections Committee to order. Before we proceed, let's call the roll and establish a quorum. Madam Secretary.
Pellerin,
Here.
Pellerin here. Macedo,
Here.
Macedo here. Bennett, Berman,
Here.
Berman here. Salache,
Present.
Salache here. Stephanie,
Here.
Stephanie here. Tangipa,
He was here.
we have a quorum.
Wonderful. I'd like to welcome, there's Tagipa.
Madam Chair, I motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'm asking for the same amount of time to prepare for this that my Democrat colleagues did.
Just give me 1 second here, please. The motion to adjourn is not debatable, and it will take a majority of those present and voting. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Pellerin,
No.
Pellerin, no. Macedo,
Aye.
Macedo, aye. Bennett, Berman,
No.
Berman, no. Salache,
No.
Salache, no. Stephanie,
No.
Stephanie, no. Tangipa,
Aye.
Tangipa, aye. 2 to 4.
The motion fails. Now let me begin. I'd like to welcome everyone who is here in the hearing room today and who's watching the hearing online. For the purpose of this hearing, we are accepting witness testimony in person, and we are also accepting written testimony through the legislature's position letter portal or through the committee's redistricting public comment portal. Both of these portals can be accessed through the committee's website at aelc.assembly.ca.gov. Today's hearing is going to be a little different than the typical Assembly Elections Committee bill hearing, so I want to set the stage for what to expect. The committee is hearing two measures today, ACA 8, related to congressional redistricting, and SB 280, related to election administration and funding. As with a normal bill hearing, those items will be up for a vote in committee today. In addition to voting on those two bills, the committee will also be holding an informational hearing on the subject matter of AB 604 related to proposed congressional districts. I expect that the committee will begin by discussing and voting on ACA 8. After the committee has dispensed with ACA 8 in order to make the best use of the time of the committee and of the members of the public who are here in the hearing room or who are watching this hearing online, the order in which the committee hears the other two bills may depend on the availability of the bill authors to come present in the committee. If the committee hears AB 604 before SB 280, for procedural reasons, the committee will be recessing the bill hearing and proceeding to the informational hearing on AB 604. The committee would then reconvene the bill hearing after completing the informational hearing on AB 604. If that occurs, I will make an appropriate announcement at that time. When we hear the bills on the agenda, including the informational hearing on AB 604, we will hear from a maximum of 2 primary witnesses in support and 2 primary witnesses in opposition of the bill, with a limit of 3 minutes per witness. As a reminder, primary witnesses in support are those designated by the author. To provide additional opportunity for public input, we will allow other witnesses to speak for no more than 30 seconds. In order to permit as many people as possible to testify, I will enforce that time limit strictly. My 27 years as Santa Cruz County's chief elections official is what I carried into these conversations about mid-decade redistricting. And let me be clear. What we are building in California is the most transparent process in the nation. For example, we've launched a public redistricting comment portal right on the committee's website so voters can speak directly to this process. Since Wednesday, it's received more than 16,000 submissions.
Madam Chair.
We aren't asking Californians
I have a motion
to
based on that information.
It would be nice if the vice chair wouldn't interrupt the chair while she's speaking.
It's relevant to what she's saying.
It would be nice if the vice chair would let the chair finish her comments.
May I
before
finish my
interrupting what
comments?
she
Will I
says.
be able to make my motion?
Yes,
at that
may I
time?
finish
Thank
my
you.
comments? Thank you. We aren't asking Californians to rubber stamp maps drawn behind closed doors. We're putting the maps front and center and giving voters the final say. This is not about cherry picking when we follow our independent redistricting process. As a former elections official, I would never stand for that. It would go counter to my core values and my life's work. This is about defending democracy itself, making sure the checks and balances our kids learn in government class are alive and well after the 2026 elections. Let's be honest, Donald Trump lit this fire when he pressured Texas to change the rules mid-game. California is answering that attack, not by breaking democracy, but by protecting it. The bills we are hearing today only take effect if another state rigs the election maps. California believes in independent redistricting. We want every state to adopt it. And our Independent Redistricting Commission retains its authority to draw the maps in 2020 and beyond. I understand this is a fast process, but we are focusing on transparency and ensuring voters have the final say on whether to enact temporary adjustments to our congressional districts. Our democracy is under attack, and we simply do not have the ability to delay action so our county elections officials can administer a secure, transparent, accurate, and accessible election. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about partisanship. It's about principle. It's about trust. And it's about making sure every voter knows their voice still matters in America. We will seek to protect the rights of all who participate in this legislative process so that we can have effective deliberation and decisions on critical issues facing California. In order to facilitate the committee's business and public participation in today's hearing, we will not permit conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of legislative proceedings. Violations of these rules may subject you to removal or other enforcement action. So before we move on to the agenda, I have an additional announcement to make. I have a letter from Speaker Rivas requesting that Assemblymember Berman be permitted to present ACA 8 on his behalf. So with those announcements out of the way, we will now move on to the committee's agenda. And Madam Vice Chair, you had a comment.
Yes, I am motioning, as you said, 16,000 comments were submitted. I have not seen those comments. I'm not sure if other members of the committee have seen those comments, but those would be pertinent to the discussion that's here today. So I either motion that those comments be read into the record for all of us to hear, or that we recess until a time that we can review those comments.
Second.
So the comments are part of the bill file, and I did not hear a motion. Are you making a motion?
I'm motioning to read those comments into the record here today.
Okay. Okay, we'll take up that motion. It will be a majority of those present and voting. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Pellerin,
No.
Pellerin, no. Macedo,
Aye.
Macedo, aye. Bennett,
No.
Bennett, no. Berman,
Nope.
Berman, no. Salache,
No.
Salache, no. Stephanie,
No.
Stephanie, no. Tongipa,
Aye.
Tongipa, aye.
Motion fails.
Then I make another motion to recess until every member of this committee has time to review all 16,000 public comments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to recess until they can read the comments. And Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Pellerin,
No.
Pellerin, no. Macedo,
Aye.
Macedo, aye. Bennett,
No.
Bennett, no. Berman,
Nope.
Berman, no. Salache,
No.
Salache, no. Stephanie,
No.
Stephanie, no. Tongipa,
Aye.
Tongipa, aye.
Chair
Motion-
sounds transparent to
Motion
me.
fails 2-5. We're now going to get on to our hearing, and let's bring Assemblymember Berman up to the presentation table to present ACA 8. You may begin when you're ready.
So after, as soon as he's done presenting, you want to jump in with your motion.
Madam Chair, I have a point of parliamentary inquiry.
God help us. God help us.
1 minute, please. You may proceed.
In the letter Mr. Rivas wrote, did he give a reason why he would not be joining us today to present his ACA?
Lost it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the regular business of the committee to allow members to ask another member to present their bill. So we will begin with Assemblymember Berman presenting ACA 8. You may begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. Good morning. I'm pleased to present ACA 8 on behalf of Speaker Rivas, Pro Tem McGuire, and dozens of co-authors, both here in the Assembly and in the Senate. But make no mistake, I'm not happy to be here. One of the reasons was alluded to, which I'm a new dad. My baby boy turned 1 month old today, and I'd rather be hanging out with him and his mom. But ACA 8 and its companion bills are the culmination of a fight that we don't want. And it's a fight that we didn't choose. But with our democracy on the line, we cannot run away from this fight. ACA 8 is before you today because President Trump and Republicans in Texas and other states across the country are attempting to redraw congressional districts mid-decade in an effort to rig the upcoming election. Americans and Californians deserve better, and ACA 8 is our response to this undemocratic and un-American power grab. Known as the Election Rigging Response Act, ACA 8 would allow for the temporary use of voter-approved congressional district boundaries contained in AB 604. First and foremost, California voters will have the final say on whether or not these new district boundaries get used or not. Should ACA 8 and its companion bills pass, voters will have their say in a special election on November 4th, 2025. Because here in California, unlike in Texas and other Republican-led states, we respect the will of the voters. Second, these maps would be used through the 2030 congressional term if and only if Texas or another state enacts a partisan gerrymander of its own congressional districts before the 2030 census. This trigger provision is carefully crafted to ensure that a mid-decade redistricting required by federal court order does not result in California changing the maps. It is about the partisan gerrymandering that President Trump has demanded of his party. After the 2030 census, ACA 8 returns all congressional district line drawing powers back to the Citizen Redistricting Commission. It is important to note that nothing in this bill package impacts the role of the Citizens Redistricting Commission in drawing the Assembly, the Senate, or the Board of Equalization boundaries. Third, ACA 8 calls on Congress to pass legislation and propose a constitutional amendment to the U.S. Constitution to require the use of fair, independent, and nonpartisan redistricting nationwide. I call this the put up or shut up clause. I don't want to hear from you if you support political gerrymandering in Republican states, but not Democrat states, and vice versa. We believe in nonpartisan redistricting for California and for every state in the country. The bottom line is that ACA 8 sends a strong message to other states that they cannot play by different rules when it comes to redistricting. And it upholds California's values by neutralizing partisan gerrymandering by other states, all while giving California voters the final say on the matter. This situation is an emergency, and California is responding by empowering our voters with transparency, with respect for our independent commission, but with a will to act. I respectfully request an aye vote on ACA 8, and I'm joined today by Annie Chow with the California Teachers Association and Danny Curtin with the California State Council of Carpenters.
You each have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, Danny Curtin with the Carpenters, as you heard. I'm going to sort of read a letter into the record, so that's 1 out of 16,000. It is with great reluctance but firm resolve that I'm testifying on behalf of the California Conference of Carpenters to strongly urge your support for ACA 8. The extraordinary measure of redrawing our congressional district maps in mid-decade rather than the historically established national norm of realignment following the census at the end of the decade, a constitutionally required census to count every person living in the country for the purposes of democratic political representation, part of the great democratic experiment that is the United States, and quite revolutionary at the time, I might add. Unfortunately, these are not normal times, and this isn't politics as usual. Not only has the Trump administration denied disaster assistance to victims of California devastating forest fires, it is also seriously damaging our California economy with targeted arrest of law-abiding workers without warrants, which I'm sure many of you are aware of. The Trump administration is now unilaterally withdrawing from legally binding union collective bargaining agreements with federal workforce unions. The president has made it clear that this is just the beginning. Whatever your opinion of the Carpenters Union, you all know we are willing to work across the aisle to find solutions. We supported and still support the bipartisan reform work of Governor Schwarzenegger's administration and this legislature on redistricting to establish California Citizen Redistricting Commission. We believe every state should require the use of fair, nonpartisan redistricting commissions. I'm going to get that before I'm done. But they don't. Using that loophole, the Trump administration is now blatantly attempting to selectively change election rules in the middle of the game. Everybody knows why, to ensure unquestioned congressional support for his unilateral political agenda. For that reason, and that reason alone, we urge you to enact a one-time redistricting for congressional districts only to give California voters the ability to have their voice heard loud and clear on the national level. We also support the return to redistricting by commission following the census. I have a couple of other items. I don't know how much more time I have, but let me just start
45
with one
seconds.
thing. When a press conference by the governor and the political leaders to discuss this topic is greeted by a masked gang of Rambo wannabes in full combat gear with automatic weapons just to intimidate, you know something's wrong. And I mean, all of you know something's wrong. Whatever reasons. When the Speaker of the House condemns California for going to a vote of the people to address this blatant power grab, but ignores Texas for redistricting without a vote of the people, the hypocrisy is overwhelming. You know something is wrong here, all of you. I heard on the radio this morning, President Trump told Sean Hannity that Vladimir Putin said, quote, "Your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting," quote.
If you could wrap up, please.
Putin got 88% of the vote. His other buddy, Jim Kung, whatever his name, forget that. You know something's wrong here when you take advice from Putin on voting. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Please support this measure. And I know it's difficult for some of you, but it needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next witness in support. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. I'm Annie Chow with the California Teachers Association, representing 310,000 public school educators here to speak in support of ACA 8. The Trump administration is waging a war on every public institution we hold dear. In a few short months that he's been in office, he has worked to freeze funds for critical education programs, including after-school teacher training and migrant education program. He's cut healthcare for millions of our students and their families, attempted to dismantle the Department of Education, and passed a new voucher program designed to destroy public education entirely. There's also been unprecedented attacks to our immigrant communities and our LGBTQIA+ students and families. The Trump administration's removal of schools as safe zones from ICE has unleashed a level of trauma and fear that no one should ever endure, let alone our children. Just this month, a 15-year-old in Los Angeles was detained by federal agents right outside her high school. Our students deserve better. They deserve to feel safe and supported at school. They deserve every tool they're afforded to ensure that they are set up for success in life. A majority of Americans are not with him on these vicious attacks. So what does Trump do? Rig the next election and steal our right fair representation. He wants his Republican allies to redistrict in states where they hold power so that he can stack the deck to continue to harm our students. As my Secretary's Treasurer, Erica Jones, said, I taught my kindergartners to be kind and help each other, not to cheat and be a bully. 5-year-olds get it. Why doesn't he? My members and our colleagues at NEA spent months reaching out to our Republican representatives in California. Several refused to even meet with local teachers in their district and in their capital offices. Some lied directly to our faces and promised they wouldn't vote for this draconian cuts for our schools and our health care. When the lawmakers went back to DC, they proved that they'd rather take orders from Trump, even if it was at the expense of students and teachers in California. We must fight back. CTA supports the great work that the Redistricting Commission, I caught yours, Danny, did in 2021, but there must be some type of check and balance against these federal attacks. We're living in the most unprecedented of times. This requires us to meet the moment to protect our communities. CTA stands in full support of bringing the ballot initiative outlined in ACA 8. We're ready to do whatever it takes to stop the power grab and fight back against any and all attacks against our democracy, our students, and public education. And California has a duty to stand up and take action. ACA 8 simply empowers California voters to support a temporary change in our congressional districts until the next redistricting cycle to ensure that our students and families are protected. And for those reasons, CTA urges your aye vote. And I'm also adding support for the California Federation of Teachers.
Thank you so much. We'll now move on to additional witnesses. May come up to the mic.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to amend.
Second.
Amend what?
Amend ACA, and I would like that the sergeants pass these amendments out so that way everybody could read them.
Give me 1 second, please. Are the amendments in ledge council form? Okay. Okay.
Staff to reanalyze the bill, constitutional amendment, or resolution.
Just give me a second so we can answer your question here. So these are not author's amendments, so the rule you cited is not
It
relevant.
says a member, does not say the author.
But they are not author's amendments.
Once again, it's
The committee rules are clear that this is related to author's amendments only. These are not being offered by the author of the ACA.
this is not clear.
Madam Chair.
The author is Rivas and McGuire.
In section 2, it's that we authored this,
We
actually.
prepared this
prepared this.
ACA.
Okay, give me 1 moment to thoroughly answer your question. My ruling is the amendments are not in order.
There is a motion on the table.
And your motion is not in order as well.
Madam Chair, I asked to read the amendments into the journal.
Second.
I reject that. No,
On what grounds, Madam Chair?
my decision.
So there's transparency and bipartisanship.
Yes, Assemblymember
I would like to
Salati.
move the bill for approval. Move the item.
We have a motion to approve the bill.
Madam, the motion to read into the journal takes
One
precedent.
one second, please. I'd like to recognize Assemblymember Stephanie. Oh. Okay, there's a motion and a second to amend ACA 8.
So,
And I'd like to recognize Assemblymember Stephanie.
I move to lay the amendments on the table.
So you're not going to allow us to debate or present these amendments for anybody to read. They're just going to vote on them, correct?
We are gonna, the motion is to lay the amendments on the table.
So
Madam Chair-
none of my colleagues are going to read this before they vote on it, correct? I just want to
Yeah,
clarify.
as it is, so I'm good.
Madam Chair, we
You
just
could make them better.
we just
I
heard
don't think they will.
we just
haven't
heard
seen them.
both
I don't need
testimony from the author.
We haven't even heard
And-
all the testimonies, so
But we've
let's
made-
try to get through this hearing on the bill,
But
all right?
we've
Let's try to
made
hear
this
the bill in
statement
its
here.
current form.
We
might
We have
be
a
able
motion
have
to
if we
lay
would've
the
had
amendments on the
more of a
table.
heads up about this.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
But Madam Chair, we made the statement that we're making this very transparent.
We
and
have
this
a
is very
motion to
clear.
lay the amendments on the table.
And I
We're
would
going to
like-
proceed with that
Cal,
motion.
wait a second. The whole thing is that this is about transparency and that you want fairness in this. We got the language at 8 o'clock. All we're asking is for our input to be taken. You didn't talk to me as your vice chair about this, so here's our opportunity,
Wait.
Madam Chair. All we're asking for is participation in this. And Mr. Tongipa came prepared. The rules state this, that I would be happy to bring the chief clerk in to review this. I don't know why you're shutting this down.
And Madam Chair, I would have presented this to you sometime sooner at any other time. I had no time. We didn't receive this, and yet there are authors on this before I even got to see this. I didn't get this till last night because we were not informed. So my question is, since everybody's prepared, since you're so fine with the ACA, is how much time did they get to prepare before I did? Why am I not deserve that same for the 500,000 representatives that I get to represent in my district? Why am I not granted that same right to defend them?
I believe we have a law in California that that members get 72 hours before final vote on any legislation to review the legislation and the language of the legislation before they vote.
But Mr.
on that
Berman,
language
did you
as
have-
the final
did you
as the final
have this-
version.
how-
I
how
saw this
early-
language yesterday.
How-
I
okay.
saw this language yesterday.
You saw this like
It was in print yesterday morning, correct?
It was in
And that's
print.
when I saw. And that's
But
when I
It was
saw.
in print,
And
but when was it
was
seen?
in print,
I
and
saw it
you're a
yesterday.
co-author on it immediately?
Yeah.
So you had seen that even before it was printed, you were already a co-author?
Yeah, I absolutely support the concept. I had faith in the authors to draft the right language. They did, and I support it.
But I
For
did
the
not have that
concept,
same.
but you didn't even read
I did not
language.
have that same ability.
You weren't aware of the concept? You weren't aware of the news that we
no,
were
that's
planning
not
on
what
doing
I'm
that?
saying. Mr. Berman, what I'm
Excuse me, we
saying
have
is-
what I
we have
said.
the chief clerk here,
I am simply just
Sue Parker.
asking for the same amount of time so that way I can go into this just as much as everybody else.
I saw the language
and that
when it
there
went
are
into print yesterday
amendments,
morning.
And I understand that. And I have a different opinion on
Yeah.
that. And that's okay because
And
I'm
we both
granted
get
that.
Okay,
72
all right,
hours
excuse
to
me,
review
we're
the
gonna-
language
hey,
before we
hey,
vote on it in its final
hey.
vote.
I'm asking for.
We're going to stop this right now, this back and forth, okay? We have to have some civility in here. We have our
Yes,
chief
ma'am.
clerk, Sue Parker. If you could please come on up for a consult, please. All right, we're going to take a temporary recess. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Thanks.
Amazing.
All right, we're going to bring the committee back. Thank you for giving us the time to figure this out. In the spirit of transparency, we're going to go ahead and allow those amendments to be presented, and we're going to give you 3 minutes to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I'm asking for is a fair and equal opportunity to talk for my representatives. So I appreciate that. And really, as the presenter of the bill had stated, that he was assigned as a co-author, and there were multiple members on this committee.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Could we distribute the amendments?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh. Thank you.
We'll stop the clock and start it again.
And the sergeants. So, as was stated, and not only that, we see that there are multiple co-authors on this bill that I hope don't have the same regards as the presenter of this stated, that they were a co-author before they even saw this bill. I believe that these amendments actually help make sure that we are protecting the democracy, in which was stated earlier today, that we're making sure that this is as transparent, and if you're actually fighting for the people of California, that you buy into this. So there would be no reason for them to deny this amendment unless they have a vested interest in the maps that are being presented before us, in the changes in these congressional districts. So simply to read the amendment is, a member of the legislature who voted in favor of Assembly Constitutional Amendment 8 of the 2025-2026 regular session shall not be a candidate for congressional office in any congressional district adopted pursuant Section 4. All in an essence of, if everybody here is saying that they are doing this to protect democracy, to do it to make sure that they don't have a vested interest. And especially when we have seen reports reported by KCRA that stated that the pro temp asked for a specific district to be drawn so he could be included in that, that the DCCC wrote these maps, and it shows that there is so much political gains and political partisanship that has been played, that has been lied to the California people. You now have the ability to prove that you are in this for those same right reasons that the presenter actually asked us to do. You have the ability right now to say that you're doing this for those specific reasons. So when you cast your vote on these amendments, you will declare to the California people that you do believe in democracy, that every statement and the amount of placating that we heard earlier today, that your words are true. And this gives you the chance to tell the truth, to tell the California people that you have no vested interest in this, that you believe in everything that was stated, that the author and the presenters and all of the other co-authors on this say that I'm not running for this congressional seat because of my personal gain. I'm doing these districts because it's what you believe in. So you have the chance to do so. Every single person who's a co-author on this who didn't read the bill. Okay, if you didn't read the bill, then you shouldn't have any issues adding this as an amendment because you don't have any problems with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assemblymember Stephanie.
I move to lay the amendments on the table.
We have a motion to lay the amendments on the table. Madam Secretary, please. Oh, is there a second?
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, you may.
I'll second it. I'll have a comment. You know, it's really hard for me to consider any amendments when the first motion within seconds of starting this meeting was to adjourn this meeting. So I have a question for the proposed amendments. How did you plan to submit these amendments if you were planning to end discussion in the first couple of seconds of starting this meeting?
Well, because I spent 12 hours
I mean, clearly
last...
you were ready with some amendments. So how were you going to have even this discussion when you were making a motion and a second to adjourn?
Yes. Thank you for the question.
And end discussion.
Thank you for the question. The main reason why that motion was made in the beginning was because we just need more time. I did not have as much time as the majority party in this state as they've seen the maps. They've had these maps, they've had these bills, they've had the language significantly longer. We didn't even set the committee hearing on our member portfolio until yesterday. So we've had less than 24 hours to even know that this meeting was going to be here. That's why the motion to end the meeting was there, just to give us time. Shouldn't we have more than 24 hours? Doesn't it worry you, my friend?
Thank you.
And the motion to lay the amendments on the table is not debatable. I've given you a little time to have some comments. But Madam Secretary, now please call the roll.
That's all I'm trying to do is read this.
Pellerin,
Yes.
Pellerin, aye. Macedo,
No.
Macedo, no. Bennett,
Aye.
Bennett, aye. Berman,
Aye.
Berman, aye. Salache,
Aye.
Salache, aye. Stephanie,
Aye.
Stephanie, aye. Tangipa,
No.
Tangipa, no.
So the motion to lay the amendments on the table succeeded. So we will now move on to the other witnesses in support of ACA 8. You may come to the mic. And as I stated previously, we are giving you 30 seconds to provide some information. Your name, organization.
This is people in support.
This is for people in support of ACA 8. Okay, there's folks outside. We'll give you a minute. Yeah, this is for support to ACA 8.
Thank you. Elmer Lazardi here on behalf of the California Federation of Labor Unions and also here in support of UFCW Western States Council. Thank you.
Mic off? Mic working?
Thank you. Angela Pontus on behalf of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California in support.
Thank you, Chair. Keshav Kumar with Lighthouse Public Affairs on behalf of Reproductive Freedom for All in strong support and appreciation.
Thank you, Chair and members. Sandra Barrera on behalf of SEIU California in support.
Good morning, Chair members. Brian Miramontes with ASPE California People in support.
Sedalia King with UDW, ASME Local 3930 in strong support.
Good morning, Crystal Coles from SEIU Local 1000 in strong support.
Good morning, Annalisa Quintero with Local 1000, proud UAW member in strong support.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Constance Hill, SEIU 2015, I strongly support.
Good morning, Caden Hart on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Lenny Kounalakis in support.
Good afternoon, Faith Darling from Kern County and support very much.
Jim Schaefer from Taft, California, support very much.
Any other witnesses in support? Seeing none, we'll now move on to the primary witnesses in opposition. Please come to the... this is just for the primary right now? Primary witnesses, come to the presentation table. And you each will have 3 minutes.
And then there's plenty of seats. Yeah.
Should we post it over there?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You may begin when you're ready.
Chair Pellerin and members, I'm Cynthia Dye, a San Francisco Democrat, testifying also for fellow rotating chairs of the First Citizens Redistricting Commission, Riverside Republican Jody Filkins Weber, and Claremont Republican Peter Yao, San Gabriel Democrat Jean Raya, and Oceanside Independent Connie Archbold Robinson. Commissioners are chosen to be impartial, reflect their state's demographics, and apply constitutional criteria to ensure fair districts for all Californians. And commissioners cannot run for office in the districts they draw. The people enshrined independent redistricting in our Constitution, voting 3 times against gerrymandering. The Citron Center poll released just last week confirms Californians still support the CRC 2-1. And a national YouGov poll shows that 76% of Americans think gerrymandering is unfair and 69% think it should be illegal. The current CRC considered over 35,000 public comments to develop their maps, making difficult trade-offs to protect communities. This new proposed map was developed by legislators and their consultants in a back room. The CRC was prohibited from considering partisan interests. The new map has only that goal, adding safe seats. CRC draft maps were posted for 14 days to allow for thoughtful public input. This map was released yesterday, yet you're voting today. And why are you not hearing from good government organizations? Because it takes time for organizations to inform their members, debate, formulate, and agree upon a position statement. That's what democracy looks like. We recognize that many believe we face an existential threat, and this legislation has been touted as the only way to fight back and resist authoritarianism. But this is a false choice. Thanks to the CRC, California has some of the most competitive districts in the nation. In fact, there are twice as many districts up for grabs as proponents of this legislation hope to eke out through gerrymandering. It just means that parties have to do the work of fielding appealing candidates, developing a platform that speaks to the issues voters care about, and getting them to the polls. That's what democracy looks like. Despite the serious attacks against our democracy, we cannot preserve it by torching its fundamental tenet, that voters choose their representatives, not the other way around. At minimum, release the data and provide the rationale for your lines. If you want to do a mid-cycle redistricting right, do it the California way. Instead of spending over $200 million on a special election, fund the CRC to engage the public, create updated districts, and pass them by a cross-partisan supermajority vote. We urge you to serve your constituents by defending California's independent process and rejecting this expensive and misguided attempt to bring back partisan gerrymandering. We welcome any questions.
Thank you. Next witness, 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Chair Pellerin and members of the committee, and I apologize for my back being to some of you. My name is Jean Raya. I was privileged to serve on the first independent redistricting commission starting in 2010. It was independent, composed of a diverse pool representative of California's diversity, and it was an initiative brought by good government groups to put voters first. Approving that independent commission effectively ended the backroom political gerrymandering that had characterized redistricting for decades. We drew new maps with full transparency, giving citizens access to the process in real time through public meetings and the means to submit written comments. Voters had the opportunity to describe their communities, their environment, their infrastructure, and their economy so they could be placed in a district with a fair chance of electing accountable representatives. And in fact, there were significant changes to the legislature over the last two commissions, including the percentage of women in the legislature doubled, AAPI representation tripled, Black representation nearly doubled, and Latinos increased by 8%. If only Texas could learn from California. Their current attempts to rig the 2026 election in favor of Republicans represents the basest self-interest of officials who are so fearful of losing their power that all they can think to do is cheat. Their determination to stack the congressional deck in their favor has prompted our governor to threaten this retaliatory mid-cycle redistricting in an effort to elect more Democrats by sidelining the independent commission and holding a special election just this once. I'm a registered Democrat, always have been, and I would celebrate replacing any congressional member who has forgotten his or her oath to represent their constituents and protect the Constitution. But this can't be at the expense of the California Constitution nor the California voters who mandated fair, nonpartisan redistricting. Does the threat really call for retaliation? We have witnessed on a daily basis the chaos and mistrust that has come from revenge politics in Washington. That is not a model for the responsible government Californians deserve. It's not a model for which we should spend millions of dollars on a gamble that different districts would produce different results, or that we might not lose incumbents in more competitive districts and fail to elect whatever magic number is needed to win this electoral war against Texas and whatever other states. The governor says the American people need a fair chance. We have a fair chance here in California. We have choice. We have a voice. It's called the Independent Redistricting Commission. The maps that have been proposed are like a menu that offers you steak, but you're a vegetarian. Sorry, that's all we have. California set the gold standard for—
You could wrap up, please.
Yes. California set the gold standard for redistricting. This is not the time to take a step back from innovative democracy. Thank you.
Madam Chair, before we proceed, I'm sorry, you weren't introduced. Who are you sitting at the table? I'm so sorry.
Sorry, my name is Aaron Silva. I'm with the law firm Olson Remshaw. I'm here mainly to answer technical questions about the measure.
Okay, thank you.
My technical witness.
Thank you. We'll now go ahead and bring in witnesses who are in opposition to ACA 8. You may come to the mic.
And Madam Chair, are we going to have an opportunity to ask questions to
We
both
will. Yeah,
opposition?
yeah. We're going through our normal procedure where we hear from the witnesses first.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Just making sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Apologies on being late. My name is JP Hanna on behalf of the California Nurses Association. We are in strong support of this measure. Just wanted to make sure I get that on the record. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You threw me off there. Okay.
Strong support. Strong support.
Thank you.
Me too's in opposition.
Okay.
2 rows, please.
We'll now take the opposition. Please come to the mic.
We go row by row. Please.
Come up to the microphone. We just need for you to move to the side. Thank you. Okay.
Linda Willis, President of Bakersfield Republican Women Federated, member of Greater Bakersfield Republican Assembly, California Republican Assembly, Revere Resource Group, and other Republican organizations, as well as a church-going Christian. Strong opposition to this bullying method you're using.
Margaret Drake, citizen, California, strongly oppose this bill as a Santa Cruz, California resident.
Hello, thank you. My name is Gina Bax. I'm an immigrant, and I'm also the president for the Chico Evening Republican Women, and I strongly oppose this. Thank you.
30 seconds.
You may take 30 seconds.
Thank you. My name is Nick Bussey, and I'm here on the behalf of the Placer County Republicans Assembly. And look, redistricting, we could just have a simple blame for Trump for everything that goes on. And trust me, if it was that simple, I would blame the scoreboard whenever the Niners have lost. Now, I'm hearing words like transparency and representation and fairness, and it saddens me to be here today in this chamber and the other chamber and see the absolute opposite that's going on. Now, under a supermajority, California is drowning in crime. We're not funding things like Proposition 36, unfounded
That is 30 seconds. Thank you so much.
That was not 30 seconds.
It wasn't. It was.
Oh, yeah. I oppose.
We got that. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you all. My name is Nathaniel Noriega. So the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The California Independent Redistricting Commission was a bipartisan support, something that is nearly impossible today, as a check on all of you politicians. There's a reason why those words were spoken by Reagan. Just because they're doing it, we can do it too, is an argument that only a child will make. We're not Texas, we are California, we are held to a different standard, or at least we should be. It is my first time in our state's capital, it's beautiful, but when I look outside and see someone smoking
And
crystal
that is
meth
30 seconds. Thank
on our
you.
Capitol steps,
Thank
makes
you.
me wonder.
Thank you.
My name is Denise Aguilar. I'm co-founder of Freedom Angels in Opposition. We represent thousands of families across the state of California. And I'm just a little confused on why the California Teachers Association is one of the main witnesses. As our children are graduating illiterate, I think that the Teachers Association should focus on our children's education. Thank you. And I oppose.
Hi, Tara Thornton, co-founder of Freedom Angels. I actually didn't have anything prepared to say. I'm just really shocked. We shouldn't be doing this. Wrong is wrong. And the people don't want this. We want independent. I happen to be from one of the districts that will get decimated with 0 representation. But even if I wasn't, this isn't the right way to go. And you actually don't have the support of the people on it. You have a mandate to be independent and to not do political gerrymandering. I oppose.
Sophia Karstens, Decentralize America. You can't actually redistrict without changing the 10-year rule around the census, and you can't do that without amending the California Constitution, which is very robust on this issue. And you can't do that without repealing the Equal Protections Clause, which you cannot do. All due respect, the argument is that we want to preserve democracy. You cannot preserve democracy by suspending it. I oppose.
Sonia Shaw, Chino Valley Unified School Board President and candidate for State Superintendent, trying to take back this insane California. You call it democratic and transparent. Give me a break. California's collapsing under Newsom and his cronies. Most of you are here. Failed leadership. Just look around. Lawlessness in our streets. Schools are failing. Our kids can only 47% can read at grade level, and the CTA is over here doing this. Shame on you, CTA. You make me nauseated. Anyways, pushing ideologies in the classroom is something Newsom's wife, first partner in destruction, is well aware of, because she's pocketing while our kids are failing here.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you so much.
Put barf bags behind the
Thank you so much.
Kelly Abdosh, not only citizen of this republic, but also wife and campaign coordinator to a campaign, person running for state assembly. in complete opposition of this far overreach. Thank you.
Heather Maston with the El Dorado County Republican Party. 63% of Californians do not want this. I strongly oppose.
Doug Williams, El Dorado Republican Central Committee. I strongly oppose this. I am from South Lake Tahoe. I don't see any transparency on how these maps were drawn during the redistricting. They had complete transparency. We could see where the maps were. I have nothing in common with Sacramento, and neither does any of the people in South Lake Tahoe or the Tahoe Basin.
Hello, my name is Oscar Avila with the California Movement. Totally opposed to this. This is election interference at the highest level. You're going to use past results of elections to base the new maps to rig the election. This is election interference at the highest level. You know, it's not fair. You're going to literally move around the boundaries to make sure you get more votes to remove Republican seats. People voted for the state for Republicans. You're going to remove those seats by stealing an election. You guys are trying to commit a crime.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. No.
Florentina DeGennaro representing Moms in California with Mom Army. Also representing Glad Tidings Church in Yuba City and Freedom Coalition in Yuba City. Oppose.
Good morning, Shan Kay, a proud wife of the International Union of Elevator Constructors, Local 18, and I oppose.
Yvette Corcoran, resident of San Francisco, and strongly oppose this redistricting.
Hello, my name is Priya Patel, representing the voters of Los Angeles County, and I strongly oppose AB 604 and recognize it as an uprooting of our constitutional rights and democratic process in this county, in the state of California. This bill violates state constitutional law as well as the Voters' Rights Act. And it seems to me that the author of the bill and the co-authors that signed off on this bill haven't actually read the wording and verbiage of the bill. So I think that the voters of California
That is 30
deserve
seconds,
more.
and this is for ACA 8. Thank you.
Jessica Kong from an affected district in strong opposition.
David Bullock, member in good standing in the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 18, also representing the California GOP Labor Caucus, with the majority of our members being represented in collective bargaining by the California Teachers Association. California Republicans are already disenfranchised with representation. We're 60-40 state, 60% Republicans, 40% Democrats. Or excuse me, that's backwards, 60% Democrats, 40% Republican. This will disenfranchise us more. And we see that in the legislation already. We're 75-20%.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Angel Ariano. I came over 6 hours from Pomona, California, to say that I am in opposition, and also that I am shocked to see the lack of dignity in this room, and to use the existing processes that we have. That's my statement.
My name is Jose Carrillo, constituent of Riverside County. I'm a proud member of the National Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union, in good standing. So I have my ticket, and I don't know why unions are a part of this, but I'm just a union member, and I strongly oppose this. Yeah.
Maria Carrillo, mother, representing Riverside County, all the mothers that are fighting for our children's freedoms and protections in every school. Transparency, you guys keep bringing it up, but there's no transparency here. TDS is a real thing. Stop hating Trump and just blaming him for everything. This is not right. And Newsom said, the people will speak. We, the people, will speak if that thing goes on the ballot on November 4th.
Hi, Virginia Barbaro from Solano County. I'm also a California native, and I strongly oppose, and I'm asking all of you to support real transparency and have real issues and work together and listen to the people, because the people of California are being slaughtered by regulations and all that you're proposing to do. It's not real. Your assertions are off, and you need to.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
My name is Twyla Nixon. I'm a native Californian from Solano County, and I oppose the bill. And everything is becoming very dynamic. We're just asking for God's guidance on this and pray that the Lord will see us through this. Praise the Lord. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Horacio Gonzalez on behalf of California's Business Roundtable, one of the early sponsors of California's independent redistricting process. We urge you to reject both bills and keep our process free of politics. Thank you.
Greg Burt with the California Family Council in opposition. Some people have already brought up the issue of transparency. What was this I saw today out in the hallway was anything but transparent. I'm not sure if the Republicans know this, but while you were trying to get your amendments laid out, they were shutting your mic off, right? So if you go back and listen to the recording, the mic was going off while you were talking. How is that transparent, right? You're shutting people from just open conversation. We're all talking about democracy. Let's have an open debate. You were not doing that, right? And then you go out and have a secret conversation. Well, nobody saw what you decided.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
All right.
Hi, Reverend Dr. Angelo Frazier from Bakersfield, California. I oppose the bill. I'm a Christian, I'm a Republican, and I just happen to be black. This is racism 101 all over again.
My name is Dina Burrell. I'm from Tulare County, Visalia, California, and I oppose this bill. I am a Christian. I'm not in any kind of organization, but I'm an American citizen, and I want my voice to be heard that I strongly oppose this bill. Thank you.
I'm Ruth Brokaw. I'm from Visalia, California. I'm part of the pastoral staff at Legacy Church. I represent a lot of people who, along with me, oppose this bill.
I'm Matt Beither. Appreciate you taking the time. I'm a native Californian, strongly oppose the bill, and we'll go down fighting for kids' voice and everything. So appreciate you listening to our voice.
Hi, I'm Tina Anderson. I'm coming from Tulare County, Visalia, California, representing Central California, predominantly Republican, and we oppose this bill strongly.
My name is Patricia Weezer. I'm from Tulare County. I'm a first-generation American. I do not believe that my rights or my nationality, my primary nationality, is affected by redistricting, so I oppose the bill.
My name is Myrna Aguirre. I'm here from Visalia, California, representing Deep-Rooted Church, and I stand strongly against this bill.
My name is Mary Jimenez from Visalia, California, Tulare County. I am in a pastoral ministry also, strong Christian Republican, and I strongly oppose this bill.
Good afternoon. My name is Edie Camarillo from Visalia. I'm just a grandma. But thank you so much for listening to our voice. Thank you very, very much. And I do oppose this bill. Thank you.
My turn. Okay, my name is Tim Williams. I go by Tiki Tim from Suisun, California. You guys have probably heard a lot about us, about the California for Never, scam that's going on, right, But I heard about this meeting today, and it really disturbs me. Woo! You guys could put my children in jeopardy. I'm a little upset.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
I'm a little upset about this.
We hear you. Thank you so much. Next speaker.
That's all the time I get?
Yeah, 30 seconds, yes.
Remember, you're going to be judged.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
God is going to judge you.
Thank you so much.
It's not a laughing matter.
I'm not laughing.
Yes, you are.
Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Eufemia Munoz. I was born and raised in Tulare, California, and I strongly oppose this bill.
Good morning. My name is Andy Munoz. I was born and raised in Tulare, California also. I'm independent by choice, My opinion on this whole redistricting matter just seems to be the old adage of monkey see, monkey do. And it's unfortunate that we have to go in this direction simply to oppose another state that's trying to do the same thing, which in general, I believe they had the right to do. However, California has already done this and now is simply throwing a monkey wrench into something to try to do it also. Thank you very much. I strongly oppose it.
Hi, my name is Ellen Waitala. I am a citizen of Visalia, and I am also an elected member of the Tulare County GOP. I spent 30 years plus being an elementary school teacher, and one of the basic tenets of education is learning to be fair. This bill is not fair, so I stand before you as a retired teacher saying, let's do better. Let's not redistrict. Let's
That
not
is 30
gerrymander.
seconds. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandra Verdugo. I live in Visalia, California, Tulare County, and I strongly oppose this bill on behalf of myself and my family. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Juventina Barajas, known as Tina, born in Mexico, but a U.S. citizen. I oppose this bill. We need to be fair, and I believe it's just going to cause more problems. I oppose this bill.
Hi, I'm Kirsty Vaughn. I'm at Visalia, California, and I oppose this bill.
My name is Valerie Snyder, and I'm from Visalia, California, and I oppose this bill.
Hi, I'm Troy Stibe from Exeter, California, and I oppose the waste of my money and my tax dollars. They seem like they keep going because y'all keep taking more of them. I'd like to have some of that back, and wasting that money on doing this type of legislation is unacceptable to me. I'm opposed to it, obviously, and would like to see you guys focus on things that are more pertinent to our day-to-day activities, like reduce the cost of doing business in California.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
My name's Tom Brumley, and I'm here from Visalia, California. I speak on behalf of the 37% of the GOP of California in opposing this legislation. And I believe it's a waste of time, and I don't understand how you guys can be in favor or even see it manageable where you're trying to get back at what Texas is doing. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Jessica Brumley from Visalia, California, and I absolutely oppose this bill as there's way better ways to spend our tax dollars. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Judy Escobedo. I'm from Visalia, California. I'm here as a citizen of this state, and I would like to make sure that you understand that I vehemently oppose this bill. We voted for this bill. We voted for this state to have a nonpartisan commission so that we could pick our politicians, not have our politicians pick our voters. So I'm hoping.
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sylvia Escobedo, and I'm originally from Texas. Moved here back in '64, and we stayed here because we love California. But lately, I'm thinking I need to move back to Texas. Anyway, I greatly oppose of this bill.
My name is Maria Santiago, Visalia, California. Strongly oppose the bill. And I tell you right now, you think you're going to get away with something, but don't forget, you will answer to God and God Almighty. Leave the children alone and leave our money alone. Use our money for the right things, not your own desires. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carmen Morris from Tulare County, and I strongly oppose this bill.
Good morning. Thank you for hearing us today. My name's Rochelle Pierce. I'm from the Visalia Republican Women. I'm a former member of the California PTA Board of Managers. I'm a retired military spouse, mother of 3 college students, and a proud native Texan. I oppose this bill. Your everyday constituent is confused about where their district is, who their representative is. I've been working on the ground. People cannot tell me these things, and I think that redistricting would actually make it even worse. Thank you so much for hearing us today.
Hi, my name is Gail Babb. I'm from Visalia, California, and I strongly oppose this bill.
I am Marla Morlake. I was bred and born in Southern California, moved to Visalia about 20 years ago, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Edie Escarcega. I'm from Visalia, born and raised there, Tulare County. I'm representing all of the Central Valley. Also strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Gilbert Galvan from Visalia, California, Tulare County. As the famous words as Greta Thunberg, listen to me, listen to me. How dare you? How dare every one of you guys for trying to pass this bill? Shame on all of you. Shame, shame, shame. I oppose this bill. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Galvin. I'm from Tulare, California, and I oppose this bill strongly also.
Jim Schaefer, native Californian, Republican taxpayer, live in Taft, California, and I strongly oppose this bill.
Faith Darling, Bakersfield, Kern County, and I have been speaking with a lot of Democrats that are, I guess you call them fence riders, and so many of them are very confused as the rest of us, and they are getting help from a lot of us because they didn't sign up for this either. So just to let you know, you think you have a lot of votes on your side and you really don't. I strongly oppose the redistricting.
Scott Kaufman, Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. We supported independent redistricting on the ballot, and we will defend it when it's on the ballot. We oppose this measure. Thank you.
Lance Christensen, California Policy Center. The one thing I love about this place is we can actually have a debate when it's allowed. When I started in this building 20 years ago, my boss said, I may not like the result or the outcome, but I appreciate the process. And what we've seen today is a show, a circus and a show trial. So I hope the people of California see through this and we oppose this redistricting effort. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Ramos. I'm also from Visalia, California, and I strongly oppose this bill because it's wrong and should never have even come to this, and also because it's going to cost taxpayer money. Use the money on something good and useful. Don't waste your time on this.
Good morning and God bless you all. My name is Daniel Ramos from Legacy Church, Visalia, California. I'd like to say that I strongly oppose this bill. I strongly oppose the nonsense of the leadership of Gavin Newsom and all the Democratic leaders that they have nothing good to do except to drive people out of California because they have no substance to them. We need to have common sense again in government. So
That is 30 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, honorable members. Michael Friend, native Californian. I was always brought up to believe that two wrongs do not make a right. I strongly oppose this bill and the blatant hypocrisy. What a joke.
My name is Bernie Johnson. I'm a resident here. I'm born and raised here in California, and I oppose this bill.
My name is Jennifer Jackson. I'm from Burbank, California, and I'm here to speak for the 16,000 people that wrote in, took their time to write comments, and you don't have the time to look at them, and you won't put them in as part of this meeting. That's despicable. I am strongly opposed to this bill. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lynn Sandoval from Hemet in Riverside County, strongly opposing this whole measure. This is my first time in Sacramento and observing what goes on here. And I also am really frustrated by seeing how you're silencing the voices. And it's a huge waste of money. How do we have this kind of money to waste at a time like this in California when so much is getting cut? Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Bourbon.
Good to see you.
Hello, my name is Rudy Sandoval, and I'm from Hemet, California, a native Californian. And I drove all the way from Hemet just to see what a rig operation you guys run over here in Sacramento. And I just want to thank you for proving me right. Thank you. And I do totally oppose this bill.
Good morning. My name is David Kroll. I am from San Diego, California, and I strongly oppose this bill. And this is highly, highly unpopular. And you guys are actually doing us a favor, so thank you, because people are going to come out in mass against this. Have a great day. God bless.
Hi, my name is Deborah Kirkendall. I'm from Hillmar, Merced County, and I first want to thank you for this honor. My dad and my husband, a disabled Army veteran, sorry, with brain damage. Because they fought for our country, I get to come and speak before you, and I thank you for that. That's an honor. But I want to tell you, my husband with brain damage, he knows this is wrong, and I'm here to say no for me and for him. Thank you for the honor to give my word.
Bella Minor with Central Valley Republican Party, and I strongly oppose this bill, and shame on everyone who is a support for this bill.
Hi, I'm Catherine Lau from Tracy, California in San Joaquin County, and I represent Central Valley Impact Republicans, as well as Jim Shoemaker for Congress. And as a native Californian, fourth generation, I am just appalled that you would take this opportunity to try to redistrict and not even in less than 24 hours and not even read the bill. It's really truly appalling, and I'm really saddened to hear this, and I strongly oppose this.
That's 30 seconds. Thank you.
Good evening, committee. My name is Max Bonilla. I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm a taxpayer who would definitely love to see our money going to better things. $230 million could definitely do things like helping rebuild the Palisades or communities that have been impacted by recent wildfires, but not this. Not this political gerrymandering, not this political posturing, not these ridiculous talking points by Governor Gavin Newsom. Thank you very much.
My name's Danella, and I oppose.
Good morning. I'm Dennis Gregory. I'm from Eastvale, here in California. And if you people weren't suffering so much from Trump derangement system, you'd see the right thing and you'd understand what needs to be done in this state and this country. Open your eyes before it's too late.
Good morning. Olivia Angeli from Elk Grove. Strongly oppose this.
Good afternoon. My name is Lena Plent from Chino Hills, California. I strongly oppose this bill.
Good morning, Lars Knutson, El Dorado County. There's no political solution to this spiritual problem. And I've been praying for Gavin Newsom since he was the mayor. And I'd encourage all of us to take a look at our own hearts, be led by the true spirit of the living God. And I just ask God to bless you. May his wisdom flow, and tell the devil to get out in Jesus' name.
My name is Riley Nemi. I'm from Temecula, California, and I want to tell you to oppose this because Republicans in California are already greatly underrepresented. We only have 9 congressional seats out of 52, which means we have less than 20% representation in Congress, although Republicans make up 40% of the state of California. So thank you.
Good morning. I'm Priscilla Allers from Montrose, California and Los Angeles County, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Adam Pantoja from Riverside, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Sophia Bell from. My name is Sophia Pantoja from Riverside, California, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Cecilia Pantoja, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Annette Pantoja, and I'm from Riverside, and I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Timothy Johnson from Fontana. There is no wisdom and no understanding and no counsel against the Lord. I strongly oppose this bill.
I'm Jim Shoemaker, and I'm a candidate for the 9th Congressional District. So I do oppose this bill. I see that what's happening. We need to go back and let the commission handle all these things. I'd appreciate you guys to vote no.
Hello, Dave Schultz, Bakersfield, California. I oppose this bill. I don't understand why we are so involved that we have to redistrict our districts because something is happening halfway across the country. I oppose this bill. I think we should pay attention to what is really important to the people of California.
Okay, seeing no witnesses and opposition, we'll bring it back to the dais. Members, any questions, comments? Assemblymember Bennett.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I appreciate the indulgence. I have 9 points. I'm going to read them. I'd like to speak them all, but I wanted to make sure I actually get this said properly. And the first point is, the fundamental question I think in front of us is who should have control of the power, the vast power of the federal government? And our founding fathers agreed all hundreds of years ago on a special form of democracy designed to protect our democracy from power grabs. They created the rules and norms for how we compete for power. That's the fundamental problem that democracies are created to solve. We could have it just be military might. Whoever's strongest, they get the power. Not in the United States. We created these rules, and we're a rule of law, not men. We have checks and balances. We have a free press, and we created all kinds of historical norms that kept us all agreeing we would follow those rules rather than go to war with each other over power. Democracy requires many of these critical components to work. Not just one of them, but all of these critical components need to work for democracy to thrive. Autocrats around the world today have learned to grab power by weakening these democratic institutions, rules, and norms. Weakening democracy by attacking and ignoring those rules and norms, by intimidation, by deceit, by militarization of our civilian life. Those are all ways you weaken those norms that we have to have if we want to transfer power peacefully and here in the United States. Autocrats count on democratic advocates to play by the old rules while they grab power using their new rules. And I want to repeat that. Autocrats count on democracy advocates to play by the old rules while they grab power using their new rules. It's a false scenario to say we can win simply by working harder, right? While autocrats grab power using their old rules. A few decades ago, Russia was a democracy. Today, democratic advocates, no matter how hard they work, have no chance of voting Putin out of power. He will kill off any of the stronger opponents that he has. Many of us prefer the old rules. We prefer the agreement we all had to play by those rules, right? But when autocrats change the rules and the norms that we are using to decide who has power, we can either fight back or we can potentially permanently lose the ability ever to fight back again in the future. That is the question in front of us, in spite of all kinds of other distractions we will have. What are the rules and norms for how we transfer power? This is an attempt to grab control of the power of the House of Representatives with redistricting and permanently, potentially grab that control. That is too big of a risk for us to say, well, we like doing it the other way. We like the more get along, everybody follow the democratic way. We simply don't have that choice today. I strongly support this bill. I appreciate the speaker's leadership. I appreciate the chair's leadership in bringing this forward. Thank you very much.
Assemblymember Tongapa.
Okay. Well, I hope you bear with me because I spent a lot of time trying to catch up, trying to read, trying to inform myself as much as possible because we've had so little time that even the presenters stated that they didn't even read the bill. And I would hope that the authors or don't hold, or the other co-authors on this bill, I hope they don't hold the same sentiment that the people of California don't even deserve a read on a bill. I have a few technical questions, actually, and first and foremost, I do want to say thank you to the opposition testimony. I could say this, what we've seen today is, I know I'm a conservative, I know I'm a Republican, and I know that we have differences, but the maps that both of you worked on, especially in the beginning too, did give representation. Now I can say that I did not vote on the FAIR Commission, mainly because I was 12 years old at the time. But I respected it. I truly respected it. And a lot of the work and the deliberation, because I was one of those kids that was overly into, our elected leaders. And a big portion of that is because I grew up right down the street from the Capitol, in one of the poorest communities in the entire state of California, and actually one of the roughest gang-affiliated communities. And it was those gang members that actually protected me, paid for me to get into this position. And now I can proudly say, as the first Polynesian individual ever elected to the state of California, it was done by an independent redistricting commission that actually believed in the efficacy of what this state can be. And there's a lot that we've heard today of testimony, we've seen a true bipartisan coalition here just trying to protect, because California should lead the way. When other states decide to do something else, we shouldn't react to them. We should prove by example that we can do this better, that we create the foundations for the rest of the nation, because it's supposed to go as California goes the nation. We've lost that. And that's what we've seen and heard today. I mean, we can't even read our own bill, but we'll decide to present it and vote on it too. That's insanity. And that's heartbreaking to the rest of Californians. Because again, I was one of those kids who just obsessed that the policymakers in this building actually cared about the people of California. But how can you say you actually care about the people of California if you didn't even read it? And that breaks my heart because I spend so much time on this. Because I'll work myself to death trying to make sure. I didn't ask a question, but I just wanted to make sure.
No, but you're misrepresenting what I said, Mr. Tongapa. And you're doing it over and over and over again. And I will correct the record when it's my time.
Okay, Assemblymember Tongapa, let's let the Assemblymember Berman speak.
But go ahead. Just know that Tongapa is absolutely misrepresenting what I said over and over again.
Do you
which
want
he
me to
needs
get
to
it
do to try to justify his position on this bill, and I understand that.
But you stated that you supported it prior to seeing it. Is that not what you said verbatim?
What I said is that there were discussions about the concept of the bill, and I absolutely support those concepts.
Prior to
the
reading
bill
them,
is 5 pages long. I'm sorry it took you so long to read it.
Okay.
I'm sorry that from yesterday morning was too long.
That's okay.
For you to be able to read a 5-page bill.
That's all right.
But we discuss as legislators, right? We discuss concepts, we discuss ideas, we decide whether or not we're going to support things.
Because this bill is attached to so many others.
I don't understand why that's a new concept for you.
It's okay.
But I'm glad that you took 36 hours to read a 5-page bill.
It does.
And
it does take me time.
I welcome the debate.
It does take me time because I will take 36 hours to read a 5-page bill for 40 million people in this state because they deserve it. Because they deserve it.
It's 5 pages, Mr. Tongapa.
That's okay.
Okay, we're not debating the length of the time it takes to read 5 pages. Let's stick to the substance of the bill, please.
Exactly. Thank you, Madam Chair. So, truly, I appreciate it all. Some of my technical questions, too. The lawyer that is here. So you have gone through the bill, right? You have read the language. It probably took you got through it a lot faster than I did, I assume. Can I ask you who is, and actually we're going to become really good friends. I hope you know that. Because who is
Excuse me,
paying your
I'm sorry,
retainer?
Madam Chair. The assembly member seems to be making veiled threats to my witness, which I don't appreciate. Well, I don't know why he's talking about becoming really good friends. Let's just ask some questions and get some answers.
If we could
Thank you, Mr.
definitely
Congress.
stick to just asking the questions
Yes.
through the chair. Thank
Well,
you.
because he is here to answer the legal questions.
Doesn't mean he's going to be your friend.
Okay.
Madam
That's
Chair,
fine.
are we gonna allow my colleague to ask questions, or is this gonna be drawn out even
But
longer?
I just would like to
Kind of
know.
like you did to start the hearing.
It's kind of going back and forth there. Let's have one person speak at a time.
Mr. Berman, I ask that you just
Assemblymember
respect us to
Tongapa,
ask these
please
questions.
ask your question to the witness.
As long as you don't make veiled threats to my witnesses, that's no problem at all.
Okay, let's just let Assemblymember Tongapa ask his question, please.
Well, who is funding the retainer for you to be here, and how long have you seen the language in this bill? When did you first get it? And when did you start seeing it? Because I did not get it till yesterday. So how much time did you have to review this?
Mr. Tongapa, I'm here to answer technical questions about how the bill works. I'm not here to reveal attorney-client privileged information about the representation I provide or anything that went into the work product. I can answer questions about the face of the measure.
Well, I just, for me, since it takes me so long to read, I just wanted to know how long you had to read it. And if you, as a representative
Let's stick to the merits of the bill. Let's ask questions about.
This is a merit. This is back.
This is not the merits.
How long it takes somebody to read a bill is not.
Bills, we consult with people before we introduce those bills. This isn't a foreign concept. This isn't a lack of transparency. So you
Assemblymember Tongapa, if you have a question about the merits of the bill, please ask it.
Okay. Then we'll go into even more of the merits. So under the new redistricting proposal, and a lot of these, and the main reason why I'm asking for so much time is because the questions that I prepped yesterday when I saw this all changed because the maps changed at 8 p.m. last night. And I think that it's well within the process to say, like, I should know. The maps changed at 8 o'clock, at 8 p.m. last night.
The maps were released on Friday, I believe, and they have not changed.
They changed per the census tract. Madam Chair, the fact that you don't know that should cause worry to everybody.
I'm sorry, 8 a.m. yesterday. Sorry,
No,
not
they
8 p.m.
changed-
8 a.m.
changed
yesterday.
At 8 p.m. last night, there was a change at 8
My
p.m.
understanding it was 8 a.m., but
I am eager to hear
regardless,
your questions
what
in
is your
regards to whatever
question
changes
to the
there were
merit
to
of the bill?
maps.
Okay, well, then Clovis would be split into 3 different congressional districts. Not anymore, because the last change that I got as of 2 hours ago on the new maps, now they are kept into 1 district. Can you explain the rationale for splitting up Clovis residents, thus weakening their voice?
I think that would be a better question for the authors of the bill that actually has to do with the maps. My bill has to do with putting, or the speaker's bill, constitutional amendment has to do with giving voters the opportunity to have their voices heard, and whether or not we will have a special election on November 4th. So I am not prepared to speak to the specific iterations of the maps, but I believe somebody will be presenting that bill after this ACA, who hopefully will be better prepared to discuss individual line drawing of communities.
Well, the maps are pertinent to this ACA
But
because
the
they're also
ACA
anonymous.
is to give voters the voice and an opportunity to have their voices heard on whether or not they want to have a mid-decade redistricting.
Can you speak to the cost of the ACA and how much it's going to cost the taxpayers of California then?
About the same as the recall that
how much is
Republicans
that?
put forward.
How much is that?
I believe it's...
But that recall was done by the Citizens Initiative. It wasn't done by this body.
Fundamentally,
there's a difference.
the answer remains the same, that it's the same cost. Your question was, what's the cost? And I said it's the same as the recall.
Well,
Doesn't
how
matter
could you
who
say
put it
it's
on
the
the
same
ballot.
of
I'm
the
just saying the
recall
answer.
since 2021 to where we're at now? We've seen 40% inflation rates. So is it 40% more?
Well, I mean, with the tariffs that Trump just put into effect, it's probably more than 40% inflation rates. But I believe the cost of the special
Mr.
election
Berman, I'd
is
ask you to speak to the
approximately
merits of
$200
the
million.
question that I asked. Just how much
Just
does
did
it
that,
cost?
Mr. Tongapa.
Mr.
Just did
Tongapa,
that.
excuse
Just
me,
happened.
can you just let him answer the question? He's doing so. Just
Did you
close
miss-
your
I
mouth,
just-
open your
I just
ears,
said I
listen
believe
to
it's
him for a second, please.
$200 million.
We all need to listen to each other. So when someone else is speaking,
So
let's
wait,
have
why do
one
I have
speaker
to
at a
close my
time.
mouth when somebody else
I'm just saying,
interrupts me?
no, I'm saying
Do
it to
you not
both of you.
find that-
I'm going to say that to both of you. Please refrain from speaking when the other person is speaking.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ask the question. How much does this cost? Is there a actual fiscal analysis on how much this will cost the state of California in its current 2025-2026 costs, not to the 2021? You can't.
Well, I think the
that doesn't
recall
even
was
make sense.
approximately $200 million, so this will be over $200 million.
Okay.
I think somewhere between $200 and $250 million.
Okay, and so with a rolling and looming $20 billion deficit predicted by the LAO all the way until 2028, you believe that it's within the right to the state of California and this legislative body, not the people who put it on the initiative. When it came to the recall election, that was done through a citizens' initiative. Nobody here did that. This is being done by us. The legislators here, hang on.
By all means, please, I'll let you pontificate as long as you want.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Do you believe that 200, and we can adjust costs for inflation, $300 million is what a state in a massive deficit and a rolling deficit year over year predicted by the LAO is what this state should be spending money on?
Can I answer?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Tongabo.
Thank you.
So, absolutely. And the reason for that is because the damage that this Republican Congress has done to the state of California makes $250 million looks like couch cushion change. One of my communities that I represent, Santa Clara County, is going to voters to the ballot to try to recoup some of the over $1 billion just to the county of Santa Clara, to their health system because of Trump's big, beautiful bill and the decimation that is having, that all 9 Republican members of California's congressional delegation voted on, like a bunch of feckless followers. No matter the damage that is doing to their communities, the billions of dollars that the Republican Congress is taking away, and the cost that's having for Californians and California taxpayers. And so if that's just Santa Clara County, 2 million people, and it's an over $1 billion hit that their healthcare system is taking, that the poorest residents of Santa Clara County rely on just to get their basic health care, over $1 billion. Imagine the cost that this Republican Congress is costing the entire state of California. So do I think that we should spend $200 million for the opportunity to avoid billions of dollars in Republican hits to our budget? I absolutely do, and I'm curious to see if voters will agree with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The biggest thing that I'm looking at, and again, we've had very, very little time. To the question for the members that were on the Citizens Redistricting Commission, how much time on average did you spend when it comes to developing maps?
Well, we were the first commission, and because the Voters First Act for Congress passed pretty late, we got the congressional map along with the state legislative maps, and then we had to do it 1 month earlier. So I think in total we had 7.5 months.
7.5 months.
Yeah, which we worked pretty long hours to meet the deadlines.
How many meetings do you think you can estimate around?
We had about 100 meetings. Some of them were dedicated public input hearings, and some of them were business meetings. We always had public input available at those meetings.
Thank you. And how many hours do you think?
It would be the same.
Yeah.
The commission was very diligent in all members participating to the fullest.
What do you think were some of the best protections that the independent redistricting really implemented? Some of the rules and stipulations. Can you go over that? Because when, I just have very, very large worries, especially with this ACA, that not only does it open us up for litigation, just simply in the way that it's written, but that we're going to do this. And then, some of us believe that we should spend hundreds of millions of dollars for something that will be sued and will be challenged or could be implemented. And then, we don't even, it won't even work. By getting this onto the ballot. And the big reason why I say that is because when it states here that redistricting in all the other states, so there's a portion of the bill that talks about that this won't kick into effect unless Texas, Florida, and all the other states, don't redistrict unless court ordered. Unless court ordered. That's in the bill. The Texas on the 7th of July got a DOJ notice stated that they had to do something different. So if they eventually get a court order and we come back to this, we're going to do this ACA, and it's not even going to be able to be implemented because the rules and stipulations under this ACA change that. So the protections under the Independent Redistricting Commission, can you speak to the merits of that?
So when we talk about the CRC, we talk about its independence, its transparency, and the fact that it's community-centered. So the independence is that it's a multi-partisan commission consisting of 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, and 4 independents. And as you may have heard me mention, we rotated the chair and the vice chair so that every meeting we switched it up so that no party was in control at any time. For transparency, everything we did was in the light of day. We drew lines in real time when we could, especially during the refinement period. Every map that we directed our line drawing consultants to create was immediately shared with the public. People were allowed to comment as these maps were being presented, and we would receive that input and put it in the public input file. The current commission, by the way, has a very nice dashboard showing all of the public comment they got, and interactive. Wish we had that technology back in 2011. And then finally, that it's a very community center process. So the fact that we had 100 meetings that anyone could come and testify, or they could email. We were getting, tweets at the time, and letters, hand-drawn maps, all kinds of different public testimony that we all worked really hard to read. We had over, I think 22,000 public comments in our cycle. I think the current commission had about 35,000 public comments, thanks to new technology. So that was a very critical part, was this collaboration and interaction with the public.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time just listening into these commissions, and I could tell you what, I truly thank you for the sacrifice that you made to sit on there, because I did it from a phone, and I got to listen because I cared about my community. This was before any political aspirations, any goals, just to listen into the commission. And it's something that I can say, as I drew the maps in real time, that's a process, right? That the maps have to be drawn in public view, and you can see the lines. That's part of the Redistricting Commission, right?
Yeah, just to be clear, the initial maps, we would give direction in public to our line drawing consultants, because it took a lot of computer crunching, and they would come back and present them to make sure it was consistent with our direction, and those were available for the public to view and comment on. And when they were official draft maps, they had to be posted for 14 days with no changes.
One of the coolest things that I got to see is which communities would come out and they'd all say, keep us together. And just to see the people of California really to just say have a vested interest.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that we support the work of the Independent Redistricting Commission, but if we can bring the conversation back to the merits of the bill.
Could you continue on some of the transparency portions of that and how the transparency is different compared to the bill that we're seeing today?
So live map drawing, interactive map drawing, we were not allowed to discuss redistricting matters outside of a public meeting. So commissioners were barred from discussing anything not in public.
And I'd like to bring in Assembly Member Bennett. You have a question?
Yeah, I just have a question, and that is that, when you watch committees at the national level, and oftentimes committees have some kind of time limit on each member in terms of the amount of time they get to talk, or else literally we could keep going and asking more questions about transparency and more questions about transparency. I'm just raising the question. I would propose that this issue may be one of those ones where we need to have some kind of time limit. I want it to be fair. I want everybody to have, but it is appropriate for legislative bodies to, at some point in time, identify so a member can focus on their most important questions before their time limit is up.
Absolutely. We're trying to bring the conversation back to the merits of the bill. There's no doubt that we honor and appreciate the work that you've done for our state, but these are very uncertain in different times now. and we're no longer governing in a democracy. So we are having to move quickly in order to meet the timelines of doing this work and giving the voters an opportunity to vote on whether they support these maps or not. Does any other member have a question on the content of the bill?
Madam Chair, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
And so I know
What is your question about the merits of the bill?
Yeah. Well, and it's mainly I'm just trying to highlight the transparency differences between the ACA and that. So, and I think
Let's focus on the merits of this bill on what's being proposed today.
Is a comparison to the current iteration of what we do now to what we're trying to do, not to the merits of this bill. Is that what you're saying?
I think you've made your point on that. And if we can ask any other questions about ACA 8, please do so.
And I completely agree. And I understand. And, you know, I would just try to get a time limit on me for something that we just heard had thousands of hours of negotiation, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, and community meetings, hundreds of meetings. And now I'm being attempted to stop with 20 minutes of questioning. Does that not worry us?
Madam Chair.
For when it comes to the transparency?
Excuse me, Assemblymember Bennett.
It is always appropriate for the chair to identify when an appropriate time limit has come. That's normal procedure. So yes, at some point in time, I'm not saying it's 20 minutes. It's up to the chair. But the issue should be how much time is too much time for anybody to take to dominate so that we can go on and do the legislative business so that somebody doesn't abuse this privilege that we all have to speak here. So
we have a lot of work to do, and we want to keep the questions to the content and merits of the bill.
Okay. Well, then I will continue, hopefully, Mr. Berman.
Up to the chair.
Do you have another question?
I do.
Perfect.
Okay.
Under the new redistricting proposal, Fresno would be split into 4 different congressional districts. How does that benefit the city of Fresno?
Okay, again, we're not doing the content of the districts, but this is about the ACA 8 that is putting the measure before the voters to do a constitutional amendment. That is what we're talking about here.
The other bill is going to be presented.
The contents of the bill. In ACA 8, it states AB 604 and the maps. How is that not pertinent to this?
Because I think we need to be speaking to the author of that bill as far as the map and the lines and what they're doing.
There's a direct line between what can be done. So if AB 604 doesn't pass, then ACA 8 no longer moves forward because it can't, because it's written into the legislation. I'm trying to understand.
Let's see if Assemblymember Berman has a response.
I'll defer to the authors of that bill when they present that bill in front of this committee, I'm guessing around midnight, to give an opportunity to discuss the specific line drawing of different communities, like I mentioned about half an hour ago.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when will the public comments be released to the members of the committee? And, okay.
I'm sorry?
When will the public comments be released to the members of the committee?
That's not a question for me. That's up to the chair of the committee. So
we're following the typical procedures for comments, and those will be they're public to our members, and then they will be made public after the bill is processed.
And okay, how are we supposed to vote on this? Like when we haven't even seen those public comments?
Well, you have the 5-page bill in front of you. And so I think what you are voting on is the bill. It is not the public comments.
So on that 5-page bill, it states AB 604 and SB 280. Those bills are hundreds of pages long. Since they're attached to each other, have you read those?
I have not read every page of those bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
It took me a little while because
those are longer than this one.
It is.
Yeah.
So, since they're attached to each other, they cannot pass without the other one not passing. I really do think the merits of one or the other are very important to that. And so is it possible that these maps are struck down in court and we're about to spend hundreds of millions of dollars because of the way that we've done this with such urgency?
I'm not prepared to predict what the courts might do.
Point of order. Point of order.
Yes.
Could I make a motion that every member's time speaking here is limited to 25 minutes?
I'm trying to provide opportunity for people to speak to the measures and ask the questions that they have. I know this is a very fast-moving process. I've already explained the reason why we are moving quickly on this issue, and I don't want people to be abusing this opportunity to ask pertinent questions related to the bills. So give me 1 second here.
Using it. I think 40 million people of California.
Abusing the bill. They're going to do this. So if you don't have a time limit.
So I believe the questions you've asked so far have been answered. Do you have additional questions?
Yes, ma'am.
You may go ahead and ask another one.
Thank you. Is there a work into the bill with the fiscal cost of legal challenges?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Is there a work into the bill for legal challenges that I presume are going to show up left and right?
Is there work in the bill?
Like, is there when lawsuits
happen?
Yeah. Are we prepared for that with this ACA?
We have a very robust Department of Justice that is prepared to defend new laws that are passed by the legislature. Yes.
The way that the districts are drawn, it's really worries me that it makes it possible for us to not just spend the $300 million to get this onto the ballot, but then to open up our communities in the state of California into more litigation. So when the lawsuits happen and at the local county level as well, because they're split up, who's going to pay for that?
Well, actually, a big distinction between these maps that were drawn in California and the maps that are currently being passed by the state of Texas, for example, are California's maps strictly abide by the Federal Voting Rights Act, which the Texas maps don't. And so we've actually put ourselves in a very good position to defend the maps that have been drawn because the Voting Rights Act and the principles of the Voting Rights Act were taken into very high consideration when those maps were drawn.
Well, that's interesting. The statement that you made is that Texas did not follow that.
Correct.
Okay.
It's bad.
So does that mean that Texas has to redraw?
It depends on what the courts do. I'm not a judge.
Okay.
Again, can we bring the conversation back to the merits of ACA 8?
This bill is written specifically triggering if Texas redistricts.
Right.
So it's in the bill. The name Texas
Oh,
is
so
in the
is the
bill.
question if Texas's maps are thrown out,
which
would this move forward? Is
well,
that
maybe
the question?
I can ask your legal,
I'll go ahead and ask.
Legal counsel, Pettyway.
But so the question is, if, just so I understand the question, if Texas's maps are determined to be unconstitutional by the courts, then would that actually trigger for the ACA? I think that's the question.
Well, it actually states if they get a court order, it doesn't trigger it.
Well, that was put in there, I believe, in regards to some other states, maybe Ohio, is it?
Yep.
That
Florida,
Florida has some different situations. For Texas, that's the legislature. There's no court, and I know you alluded earlier to the Federal Department of Justice. They're not a court, even though I know Trump wants them to be. And so that is not actually, when the DOJ sends a letter to Texas, that's not a court order. But if, I believe your question is, if the Texas maps are thrown out by the courts, would California, and no other state has passed a partisan gerrymander, would Californians move forward? Am I understanding just the crux of the question?
Yes.
Great. Do you have thoughts on that?
So the way as you point out, the way that the trigger works in the measure is that it's only triggered if, or it would not be triggered if another state, including Texas, is forced to redistrict, is required to redistrict by a federal court order. So that's correct.
So Texas decided to stop, and then they got a court order. We would put this on the ballot, spend $300 million, and then we couldn't even redistrict because of that work-in, right?
Assembly member, I agree with you that I wish Texas wasn't doing this. And, this was not on my bingo card a month ago when we broke for summer recess. But unfortunately, under the edict of President Trump, Texas Republicans are rushing through
but that's not accurate.
A partisan redistricting.
There was a lawsuit
in the
Pettyway v. Galveston
in
County.
Texas. I just asked for the same the common courtesy that you demanded. Thank you, sir.
But there was
and so I'm sorry.
Again, one person at a time, please. Thank you.
And so when Trump demanded, I'm sorry, let me get this straight. When Trump said out loud that he was entitled to 5 additional Republican congressional districts in Texas, which for the record is an insane thing for any president of the United States to think, let alone say out loud. But when he said that he was entitled to 5 more Republican congressional districts in Texas, and all of the Texas legislators immediately lined up to do whatever Trump wanted, that forced us to put this together, not because we want to, but because we have to. And that's why the trigger language is in, the constitutional amendment that says if Texas backs down, which I really hope they do, if Texas backs down from their partisan gerrymander per the edict of Trump and his entitlements, then this will not go into effect. And that's exactly why that's there.
So, and that's what I'm saying is because of previous lawsuits like Pettyway v. Galveston County, which went through in Texas at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals and is now sitting on the docket for the Supreme Court to weigh in on, that happened in Texas, claiming that some of their districts were seen as unconstitutional. That if they receive a court order, and this is why it's important to me, if they receive a court order because they back down and stop, then we in the state of California are about to spend $300 million to do nothing. So that's the part that is the issue.
Okay, I think, all right, we have a point of order?
This is a clear abuse. This is an attempt to try to stretch this out.
This is very personal.
This is a clear abuse of the discretion that we all have.
Thank you. I'm trying to be patient with you. And you have been asking the same questions over again, and your questions have been answered. This author is not prepared to talk.
Other speakers.
We're going to move on to some other questions in regards to the bill.
Important to me because of the cost and the main reason
why. And the cost has been stated very clearly. Does any other member have a question in regards to ACA 8? Excuse me.
There's significantly more.
Excuse me.
Madam Chair, please.
Give me 1 minute, please. I'm asking
this entire break.
Mr. Tongipa,
my
I have one thing to say right here. I'm asking to see if any other member has questions in regards to this bill.
My sister was put on hospice because the state of California couldn't afford to pay it anymore because she was on Medi-Cal.
Okay, I do not. I am sorry for that.
She's sitting in the morgue.
We need to bring control back to this. Hey,
and so I'm asking.
I'm trying to get some control here. And you are speaking when I'm asking you to please stop. Just give me 1 minute here.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm asking if any other member has a question in relationship to ACA 8. We've been giving you plenty of time to ask questions, and you're asking the same question over again. The questions have been answered. Give me 1 second to see if anyone else has something to say. Can you please yield the floor to somebody else for a minute?
Am I able to then return and ask more questions? Because the funding is important.
And the funding has been clearly stated. So any other member have a question?
But I have another question for the funding for Fresno
Assembly
County.
Member Bennett.
Yes, I have two quick points. Yes, every one of these issues is important, funding, et cetera. But the other thing that's important is that we have a responsibility to meet certain timeframes to be able to actually adopt legislation. And so it is appropriate for us to weigh all of these issues, the important issues of the bill, but also the timing issues that we have to operate under. This is not the only bill that this assembly is going to deal with. But I mentioned a number of techniques that autocrats use when they try to grab power. And it is deceit, and it is intimidation. And intimidation comes in lots of different forms. It's militarization of civilian life. But probably one of the most common things being used is literally distraction of the public with all kinds of other issues instead of focusing on the basic fundamental issue. And so we'll talk about how cool was the redistricting that we did before. We all agree it was cool. The question is that, going back to that, is that going to protect us from this power grab by autocrats? And that's what we have to make sure we don't get distracted by the kabuki theater that's going on that says, come up with anything you can to distract people from the fundamental issue here, a power grab by autocrats that can't be fought by the old rules. So we need two things. One, to pay attention to that, and to pay attention to the fact that we have a certain amount of time to get the legislative business done, and it's appropriate for us all to be limited into how much time we get to talk, because none of us, even on the assembly floor, we have a 5-minute rule. Certainly in a committee, we could have some kind of rule that says you don't get an unlimited amount of time. The chair, I strongly request, will assert that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we've deliberated on this measure quite a bit. Is there any other member who has a question? Assemblymember Stephanie.
Not so much a question. I just want to weigh in. Thank you, Madam Chair, for this hearing. And I want to thank Assemblymember Berman for presenting this bill. And I just want to recognize and associate myself with the comments of Assemblymember Bennett in terms of the theater that we are witnessing here. It is absolute theater. We all know how we feel about what's happening in Texas. You feel one way, we feel another. We are responding to what Texas is doing. That is all. That is all that is happening here. We have a different idea on how to respond to autocrats who want to basically control this country in an unfair way by redistricting in a way that completely avoids voter input. And that's what Texas is doing. And that's why California is responding. So don't sit here and play games when on April 9th, 2025, when AB 1441 was before you by Soria, which directed the County of Merced to establish an independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to ensure fairly drawn districts that take into account demographics and communities of interest, when the Republicans on this committee voted no. So don't sit here and play games. We know what's at stake. Don't interrupt me.
Madam Chair,
Do not interrupt me.
No,
You've had
she is speaking. We are letting her speak. We are letting her speak.
I am speaking now. I have not spoken yet. Do not interrupt me.
Point of order.
Do not interrupt me.
Point of order.
This is the Democrats' response to what is
Madam Chair,
happening
you stated
in
to me
Texas,
that I had to
what
remain
might happen
on the
in
purpose
Ohio,
of the bill.
what might happen in Missouri. It's a blatant attempt to control the elections, and this is California's response. We have come up with a way to respond, and this is the bill that we are presenting today. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Point of order.
And that's what you are doing.
What is your point of order?
I was constantly reminded to remain to the pertinence of the bill. What does that bill in Merced have anything to do with this one? And then I was constantly reminded whenever I brought up Texas to remain to the pertinence of the bill. So I would ask the same, please. Thank you.
Your point of order was not well taken. Assemblymember Stephanie, do you have any other comments?
I support this bill, and I urge anyone that cares about democracy to support it as well.
Is that a motion?
We moved the bill already.
Okay, we have a motion
Madam Chair, I have
and
more
a
questions.
second on the bill. We are trying to wrap up the vote on this bill. If any member who has not spoken yet has a question, please ask your question.
Can I use the poster boards that I brought?
We have not gotten approval for any props, so no.
I'm asking for approval.
No.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what's on the poster boards. They're great. I'll show you at the press conference after. California's Citizens Redistricting Commission was born out of voter frustration with politicians gaming the system for their own benefit. Twice, the people of California voted to take the power of drawing district lines away from the legislature and give it to an independent body that operates with full transparency, open hearings, and strict rules, as we have heard, to prevent partisan gerrymandering. This reform was not handed down by politicians. It was demanded and approved by voters. We are dismissing the will of those voters. Now, Governor Newsom, Democrat party bosses, and Democrat lawmakers want to take the power away from the voters. 3 measures, ACA 8, SB 280, and AB 604, represent a coordinated effort to tear down independent redistricting and hand power back to the very politicians voters explicitly rejected. It is a blatant attempt to gerrymander congressional districts for partisan gain. Even worse, it would force taxpayers to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a rushed, confusing special election at a time when California is already facing severe budget shortfalls and deep cuts to essential services like education, public safety, and healthcare? I have questions. So ACA 8 cuts directly against the heart of California's democratic reforms. Voters twice went to the ballot box to take redistricting power away. So here are my questions. Voters enshrined independent redistricting in the Constitution to prevent politicians from rigging the system. How does ACA 8 comply with the constitutional ban on favoring or discriminating against a political party? And really quickly, Mr. Berman,
by all means.
Who is your client, sir?
Let's stick to the question.
Well, you said he had attorney-client privilege, so that's pertinent.
I'm not here to talk about who my client is. I'm just here to talk about the substance of the bill.
Okay, Assemblymember Berman, please answer the question.
So going back, so the question was, how does the constitutional amendment amend the Constitution to allow this to happen?
So there's a constitutional ban on favoring or discriminating against a political party.
And this is a constitutional amendment.
What language in this is saying that you are reversing that specifically?
Well, the bill notwithstands any other provision of this Constitution. So any criteria that currently exist in the Constitution regarding redistricting are suspended for purposes of this redistricting.
I understand, but what specific language, legal language, did you put in there saying that we are now changing, that we can now discriminate against a political party?
I think he said that, but I'm going to ask him to repeat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, the language in this provision notwithstands any other provision in the Constitution, including the criteria that you're identifying.
So we're throwing the Constitution in the trash and starting all over. Why
Your
should
question's been
asking
answered.
voters, we are asking California's voters whether or not they want to adopt this constitutional amendment, notwithstanding what is currently in the Constitution. We are not doing that. This does not go into effect if the legislature passes it. 20 million California voters have to vote to approve the constitutional amendment. That's the system we have in California.
Yep, I got that. So why should lawmakers override the will of the people who have twice told us that they want to keep the redistricting in the hands of the people that we have here testifying, that have given wonderful reasons why it should stay there?
I appreciate the question, and I think it's an important one. We, once again, are asking the voters whether or not they want to approve this change. So this is not the legislature approving this change. This is the legislature putting on the ballot the opportunity for every California voter in 2025, whether or not this is a change that they approve. And I know it was jokingly mentioned earlier that my colleague and friend, Assemblymember Tongapa, was not able to vote on the original redistricting. I don't think that's a joke. I think it's a very important point. And the point is that since 2010, an estimated 3.6 million California voters have died. And there are 6 million more Californians registered to vote now than in 2010, including two very important voices in California. You two, Vice Chair Macedo and Assemblymember Tongapa. You did not have a voice in that decision. Over half of registered voters in California did not have a voice in that decision. And so what we are saying is let's give California voters in 2025, half of which weren't even registered voters in 2010, a chance to have their voice be heard. And I can think of nothing more democratic than doing that.
So then why not a census to see who we have in California, who's registered?
We
to
did
vote?
a census, I believe, 4 years ago.
Yes. Thank you. All right, we've deliberated on this measure.
You have given other members plenty of time to speak. Let her go. Please.
How many
I have
more questions do you?
prepared.
Okay. What other question do you have?
Madam Chair, I have some more questions as well.
We are done with the questions. We're going to try to wrap this up and put this to a vote. Macedo, please ask your final question.
My final question? Madam Chair. I came prepared after you gave me 24 hours. All I'm asking for is a little bit of time. You let Mr. Berman speak twice.
Would you like to ask your question or would you
Bennett
like to
speak
not?
twice.
Would you like to ask your question?
I would.
I will absolutely ask my question. I'm sure these will be asked in a courtroom, but this is ridiculous. Governor Newsom himself said this proposal is about electing more Democrats. Isn't that the very definition of partisan gerrymandering voters sought to prevent?
We are asking voters whether or not they want to have different criteria used in determining the congressional maps. And it'll be up to voters as to whether or not they want to say yes or no. That's the beauty of this.
Madam Chair, may I proceed with my relevant questions?
We have a motion and we have a second.
Madam
We
Chair,
have
I'd like to
deliberated
recess to
this
bring in the
measure
chief clerk
for
to see if
several
this is
hours.
in line
We
with
are
our
calling this
Constitution.
debate
Madam Chair.
to
Not allowing me to exercise
conclusion.
my
Madam
First
Chair,
Amendment
please.
And with
right
that,
to speak.
Madam, you
I
pontificated
will
on
go ahead
transparency.
and allow the
I asked
Assembly
you
Member
via text
Berman.
message last night if we
Excuse
would
me,
be
Madam
this is
Chair.
not the way we conduct our hearings.
It's
Okay,
not.
because you're not
It's
answering
not
my
the way.
I have
question.
allowed
This is
you
not the
plenty
way
of
we
time
conduct
to
our
ask your
hearings.
questions.
This is an urgency that is being moved
I have
through.
allowed
So
plenty of
we-
time for you
Madam
to
Chair,
answer.
please.
I have allowed you plenty
I'm
of time
still
to
not
ask
done.
your questions.
It took me a
I have
long time.
allowed you plenty of time to ask your questions.
As the presenter had
Assembly Member
stated,
Berman,
he
you may
talked to me.
close.
Madam
Out
Chair,
of respect
please.
for my Republican
Madam
colleagues,
Chair,
I had
there
a
are
long
so many
close
more
prepared,
questions.
but I'm going to forego that.
We do need to
and
know.
just ask for an aye
Madam
vote.
Chair, we
Mr.
asked
Berman,
you.
would you be willing
that
to answer my questions that I have prepared?
I am following the direction of the chair on how the committee hearing will proceed.
Mr.
We
Berman,
have
can you
to be
explain to
respect-
me
we
how
have to be
spending
respectful of people's
$250 million
times,
on the special election provides a greater public health benefit than constructing egress routes for our mountain communities?
Okay,
People
Mr.
will wait over the
Tongipa,
chair.
you have been
Mr. Tongipa,
asked to
evacuate.
stop. We are done
Mr. Berman, can
with
you
the
explain to me how
questions
$250
and the deliberation
million
on this
on this
measure.
special election is more important than the Californians
Second.
recently
Mr.
made
Tongipa,
their
you are out of
priorities
order.
when they are overwhelmingly past
Mr.
Prop
Tongipa,
36.
you are out of order.
Mr. Berman, can you explain to me how spending $250 million this entire state? They deserve this.
Mr. Tongipa,
I appreciate your passion.
I know.
Appreciate your
I
passion.
mean, our hearts break for you and your family. I'm trying to move this hearing along. I understand. We call the question. We have a motion. We have a second. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
I care about the state of California, and I think that we should too. This money is very important to me. It's personal. And I care about you. I know you care. We care. We all care.
Aye.
That's all we're asking for. That's it. And it worries me.
Bennett.
Aye.
Bennett.
It truly worries
I
me.
get it. Aye.
Berman. Aye.
I get it.
Salache. Salache. Aye. Stephanie. Stephanie. Aye. Tongipa.
No.
Tongipa. No.
It should worry everybody.
That bill.
That's all I'm asking for.
I hear you.
That bill passes 5-2.
Without proper ability for us to ask questions, let that be reflected in the record. I was given less than 5 minutes to speak.
I've got to pay $2,500 later today. So
We're going to go ahead and take a recess for 30 minutes.
Won't sign
This
off on it.
hearing.
The Medi-Cal doctors will not sign off on it.
Okay, I don't know if you can.
It's my turn to speak.
Is that not
Mr. Talking Boy, it's
important
my turn to speak.
that for me to just say this? I haven't had a chance. And everybody has seen this longer than me.
Okay, we're going to
Everybody has
call
seen
for
this
order
longer than
here.
me.
We've had
I've
enough.
gotten the least amount of time to even see this bill.
We've had enough comments taken out of order. Salache, did you have a 30-second comment you wanted to make?
I do, Madam Chair. Just wanted to say that after the vote that I casted today, I'm happy that Californians will have a choice to vote how they feel, respecting everyone's opinion today, including those that support it and don't support this bill at today's public comment, and those that submitted. Californians will have a right at the ballot box to express and to vote their conscience. So every Californian has a right, and I'm just happy to support that. Thank you.
And we will now take a 30-minute recess. Thank you. Good afternoon. We will go ahead and reconvene the August 19th, 2025 Assembly Elections Committee hearing. We have two remaining items, one for a vote, SB 280 by Cervantes, and then we will be doing an informational hearing only on AB 604. And with that, in the spirit of ensuring that everybody has time to speak, we have expanded our witnesses to 3 minutes each. The Me Too's can take up to 30 seconds, and we'll hold you accountable to that. For our members, we are going to limit debate to 15 minutes for you to present comments or questions. So we have a lot of work to do today, and we need to be moving forward. So with that, we will bring up our next author, Senator Cervantes. And you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members, for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 280 today, which calls for a statewide special election on November 4th of this year. The special election would allow California voters to consider an Assembly Constitutional Amendment, ACA 8, which would allow this legislature to engage in a one-time, mid-decade redistricting of our state's districts in the U.S. House of Representatives. The Citizens Redistricting Commission would then be able to engage in its regularly scheduled program, independent redistricting process after the 2030 census. SB 280 also appropriates the funding necessary for the Secretary of State and for our county registrars to administer this special election. The bill also makes the necessary statutory changes to allow the June 2026 statewide primary election to be held on time. California did not start this fight. This fight came to us. We are here because President Trump and Republicans in Congress know that their agenda is deeply unpopular, and they see the writing on the wall. They know that the mass deportation regime that uses secret police to kidnap people off our streets and into unmarked vans goes against our American values. They know that voters will hold them accountable for the spending cuts they jammed through Congress that strip health care away from millions of Americans. And they know that giving tax cuts to billionaires while Trump imposes tariff taxes on essential goods such as coffee and bananas will continue to raise the cost of living for everyday working families. What Trump knows is that the only path for Republicans to hold onto the House in the midterms is to change the rules in the middle of the game. That is why in Texas and in other red states, Republican legislators are preparing to redraw their congressional maps so that Republican politicians get to choose their voters. Again, Republican politicians get to choose their voters instead of letting voters choose their representative. They want to silence the voices of Latino voters, Black voters, API voters, and LGBTQ voters. Trump wants to change the rules of the game in the fifth inning so that Republicans get 4 strikes while Democrats get 3. Their goal is simple: to rig congressional maps in Republican states across our country to make it impossible for Democrats to retake control of the House of Representatives in 2026. California cannot stand by while Donald Trump dismantles our democracy piece by piece. We will not let him determine the outcome of future elections years in advance before any vote is cast to prop up his authoritarian presidency. And if you doubt that Trump is trying to become a dictator, remember that he sent armed federal agents to harass the peaceful press conference that took place last week in LA with Governor Newsom. The truth of the matter is, if we let Donald Trump get away with this rigging of elections through gerrymandering, partisan gerrymandering, we may not have free or fair elections in the United States in the future. If Donald Trump pursues this partisan power grab, then California is ready to respond. Our plan will only go into effect if Texas and other states move to redraw their lines. Again, our plan will only go into effect if Texas and other red states move to redraw their lines. Trump can do the right thing today and stand down and not move forward in redrawing congressional maps in Republican states. And California's current districts will remain in place. Ultimately, this is our preferred outcome because we do value the California's Independent Redistricting Commission, which is the gold standard of our country. And this crisis shows that we need to enact a nationwide citizens nonpartisan commission. If every state followed California's lead and adopted these independent redistricting commissions, or if Congress required this, we wouldn't be in this crisis to begin with. Gerrymandering would be a thing of the past. Finally, I want to address Republican members of Congress from California. You have the power to stop this from happening. The power is in your hands. I appeal to your better angles, but if you refuse to listen to those angles, I will rely on your ambition, your self-interest, and your desire to keep your House seats and your paycheck. You can ask President Trump to end this now. You can tell him to call off these partisan gerrymandering in Texas and other states. But if Trump decides to move forward with his plan to steal Democratic seats, then California will be the firewall. We have defeated authoritarianism before, and we will defeat it again, but at the ballot box, with the voters in the state of California making the ultimate decision on November 4th, 2025. Today, we have two witnesses testifying in support. I'll allow them to self-identify.
And you each have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members. I am Jody Hicks, the CEO and President of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California. Here representing all 7 affiliates and over 100 health centers throughout the state of California. And I'm here in strong support to this measure and to California's response to President Trump, to Texas Republicans, to any state that's planning to game the 2026 midterm elections. And I just want to point out why. I know this committee has already heard a lot about the commission. I'm sure there'll be more conversation about that. What I want to talk about is the impact of what's happening to Californians, to California values, with HR 1 that just passed. California, over 3.5 million people will be without health care. Planned Parenthood was effectively defunded in that bill for all of the services that Planned Parenthood provides, whether that's cancer screenings or birth control or even prenatal care, stripped all of the funding from Planned Parenthood in an attempt to try and reduce access to reproductive health care in the state of California, despite the fact that 67% of Californians voted to ensure that in our California Constitution, Californians have access to reproductive health care. So our intent is to go up and down the state and talk about the impact of what happened in HR 1. And what we know is when Californians understand that access to health care, when their very values are at stake, they will respond and they will hold members accountable. But that can't happen if another state is rigging the election, before those votes even occur. You know, if we were able to have our gold standard across every state in the state of California or in the country of the United States, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be talking to voters the way that we want to, but that's just not the case. And sending this to the voters, letting them decide how they want to respond to what another state is doing to try and hold on to power so there's no way to react to what is affecting their very lives, to what is affecting their healthcare, to what is affecting the very values of California. We have a gold standard. We are the model with our independent redistricting commission. But guess what? We are the model for our values here too. We are a model for how we value diversity, for how we value
If you could wrap up,
inclusivity,
please.
and for how we value access to healthcare, including reproductive healthcare. And we are a reproductive freedom state, and voters deserve to vote on that. Thank you.
Next witness, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, Danny Curtin, California Conference of Carpenters. Whoopsie-daisy. Thank you. You've all heard from me before, not too long ago. Danny Curtin with the Carpenters Union. I want to reiterate that we didn't come here because we were joyfully approaching this problem. There's no question that this was triggered by the president for reasons that we all understand. The impacts of what's been happening in the past under this administration, but also the impacts of what happens in the future is really what's at the discussion point. The targeted attacks on California workforce is one of the most disturbing portions of this for me. We are in the midst of a housing crisis that's dividing us like no other crisis, and we have plenty more to think about, water, energy, you name it. And that housing crisis is primarily private sector housing, which is not being produced at the rate it needs to be produced. And now we have armed, battle-ready, I don't know what they are. They're not identifying themselves in some cases. They're wearing masks, and I call them Rambo wannabes, attacking people on the job sites, going to places where people go to work. And the industry that's going to get most impacted by this, among others, is construction and housing construction. That is the number one issue. In terms of what's dividing Californians and causing part of this massive political rift. Not just housing, but ag, restaurants, hospitality. You know the differences here. The cuts in healthcare were well laid out. This is not insubstantial in what's going on and what we're fighting about. And I want to keep the focus on what we're fighting about, not the specific details. I believe all of this is done constitutionally. We have the right to take a whack at this, give it to the voters. Other states have it too, but we can't sit here and just let it go in one direction because of possible ramifications. One or two more little things. So far, the Congress, Senate, and Congress has been relatively supine in regards to the Trump agenda. Now, they were elected, and that happens. And a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people like it. But it's the next election that's going to matter now. And for Donald Trump to get up and say publicly, like he did a couple of things, while he's claiming the elections in 2020 were rigged, he is now openly, on behalf of the Republicans, I heard this again on the radio today, on behalf of the Republicans, going after, he's going to put an executive order attacking vote by mail. Because, he says, more Democrats vote by mail than more Republicans vote by mail. How can you not respond to that in a political manner? We don't like it. We don't really want to see it happen, but there is no option if it's going to be a one-way street. And that's what's happening. He's saying it openly, and there's no mystery here. And I appreciate the dilemma. Okay, I appreciate the dilemma that some of our members here feel that they are in. I really do. Makes life very complicated. But we just can't sit around and let that agenda continue without people pushing back. So thank you.
Okay, we'll now open it up to the mic. If anybody in support of SB 280 can come up to the mic, and we are extending 30 seconds to you as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. JP Hanna on behalf of the California Nurses Association, representing over 100,000 registered nurses in California. Nurses are unequivocally committed to blocking the overthrow authoritarian overthrow of our democracy. These attacks on our democracy are much bigger than Texas. They are a power grab for the billionaire elite at the expense of our patients, the working class, and the communities that we advocate for every day. We thank you for bringing this measure forward and proudly stand in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Pellerin and members of the committee. Keshav Kumar with Lighthouse Public Affairs on behalf of Reproductive Freedom for All. We are in strong support on behalf of our 4 million members across every single congressional district in this country, and we think that this is the moment and that California is meeting that moment. We thank you especially. We thank Chair Senator Cervantes, and we thank Mr. Berman, because the leadership that you have demonstrated today is so powerful, and the rest of the country is watching in appreciation.
Hi, Annie Chow with the California Teachers Association, representing 310,000 members in support. There's been, aspersions cast against CTA telling me to stay in my lane. Want to make it super duper clear that federal funding funds everything that happens in a school site, whether it be mental health services for kids, free and reduced meals, whether it be, IDEA funding. There's a lot of things that are critically important to CTA's mission, and that's why CTA is very much in this lane. So thank you so much.
Honorable Chair and members, Amy Heinscheig for UDW AFSCME Local 3930 and their 200,000 IHSS members in strong support in defending our Medi-Cal recipients and providers, and also Unite Here Local 11 and their 32,000 hospitality members in Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and Los Angeles County. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members. Sandra Barrero on behalf of SEIU California, representing over 750,000 frontline essential workers who couldn't be here today because they are busy working and serving their communities. All of them have been targeted by the Trump administration's steamrolling of the democratic principles that our country is supposed to stand for. So SEIU is proud to support this bill because we can't stand by while Texas and Trump manipulates our election. It's the most democratic district setting process ever proposed by a state, and unlike
That's
Texas—
30 seconds, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Caden Hart on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Lenny Kounalakis in support.
Good afternoon, Julie Nielsen on behalf of the National Union of Healthcare Workers in strong support of this important measure. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Crystal Coles. I'm a state worker with Housing and Community Development. I'm also on the board of directors for SEIU Local 1000 in strong support for the fight for our democracy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Constance Hill. I'm with SEIU 2015. I'm also an in-home support caregiver provider. I strongly support. I'm representing all those who are not here, but I'm here standing in solidarity with my brothers and sisters here. Thank you.
Tiffany Mock on behalf of CFT, a union of educators and classified professionals. We stand here reluctantly, but are very proud to stand to defend our democracy and fairness. Our educators teach about fairness and democracy, and we have seen nothing but incessant attacks, whether it's $1 billion that's being demanded at UCLA by our lecturers there, to the special ed cuts that we see and mental health problems that our educators and our students see that are being threatened by federal funding.
30 seconds, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Connor Gussman on behalf of Teamsters California in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Sarah Flocks, the California Federation of Labor Unions. We represent 2.3 million union members across the state of California, and we are in strong support. Thank you.
Hello again, Annalisa Quintero from SEIU Local 1000. I'm here in support because our state workers deserve fair representation, just like all workers across California.
We will now move on to the primary witnesses in opposition.
Madam Chair, while we're waiting for those witnesses to come up, I have a motion.
Yes.
I would like to motion to refer to Judiciary SB 280 and then to the Appropriations Committee.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to double refer this bill to Judiciary Committee. And Madam Secretary, please call the roll on that. Takes a majority vote.
Pellerin,
No.
Pellerin, no. Macedo,
Aye.
Macedo, aye. Bennett,
No.
Bennett, no. Berman,
Nope.
Berman, no. Salache, Salache, no. Stephanie, Stephanie, no. Tongipa,
Aye.
Tongipa, aye.
That motion fails 2-5. The primary witnesses in opposition, would you like to come forward? Anybody in the room who would like to step up to the mic and state your name and 30 seconds of time? Anybody in opposition? Give you opportunity. Speak.
Much for the 30 seconds. It's very generous and it's refreshing. My name's David Bolog. I am a AFL-CIO union member affiliate, and I represent the California GOP Union Caucus. I also represent Serving Family Values and Moms for Liberty. We are opposed to this bill. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amber Arias. I'm stand-up ministry leader with Calvary Chapel, Solano County. And I believe that this is very redundant and retaliatory. And just because other states don't want to play fair does not negate the fact that California legislature has sworn an oath to uphold integrity and the Constitution of the United States. And with that, I oppose this bill. Thank you.
My name is Porfiria Renteria, and I'm up in opposition of this bill. Hello, my name is Rosa Gonzalez, and I am a mother, and I am in opposition of this bill.
My name is Christina Mixon, and I am a mother, and I am in opposition of this bill.
Thank you so much. We will now bring the questions and discussion back to the committee. Any member? Member Stephanie.
Thank you, Chair Pellerin. I'm just wondering if there's anyone from the California Association of Clerks and Election Officials that can comment on their opinion of this bill.
All right, so it looks like we do have someone here from California Association of Clerks and Election Officials. You could come up and sit here at the desk and give us the perspective from the counties on. Go ahead and ask.
Can I ask that your witnesses identify themselves that are with you as well, that were not introduced previously? There's two gentlemen.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Willis with the law firm of Olson Runcho. I'm kind of replacing Aaron Silva.
Who are you here representing?
I think this is into response to, yes.
I'm the Center's Legislative Director.
Okay. All right, so do you have a question or?
Just wanting to get your perspective on this, given that there will be a huge undertaking, and I want to find out what the organization is thinking about it.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. Madam Chair and committee members, Jesse Salinas, I am the assessor, clerk, recorder, and register of voters for Yolo County. I'm also serving as president of the California Association of Clerks and Election Officials. So very honored to be here. Thank you very much for the question. And I can share with you that we are working diligently. We're a very collection of highly skilled professionals that are preparing for this election, this pending election that's coming up. And we are working diligently right now in preparing for the election and identifying the necessary sites and locations and preparing accordingly with that. We've also are working closely with the Secretary of State's office on follow-up details to ensure that this election is run as efficiently and effectively as possible moving forward.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from committee members? Vice Chair Macedo.
I will leave my feelings on this out of this because I have 15 minutes and I want to make sure that I get my questions answered. How can the legislature justify spending $235 million on a rush special election when core programs like education, healthcare, and wildfire prevention are being cut?
So first off, I want to say we're in this crisis because of the federal administration. And this election is going to cost as much as a new ballroom that President Trump wants to build at the White House.
We have the fourth largest economy in the world and a large budget, so we can't figure out how to fund those things. We're expecting the federal government to do that. My next question is, why was this urgency election necessary when no genuine emergency exists? The governor has not declared a state of emergency. Just feeling like we should sound the alarms is not enough to do so. There's an urgency clause in here.
Again, this is a crisis brought upon us because of what the state of Texas is doing. If they would pull back their measure, we would not be moving forward today with this urgency. It is a crisis. What is happening to our families, in our neighborhoods? This is how Californians have a direct response in what is occurring in the future that they want to see for this country.
So because you feel that way, but no real emergency has been declared, how will counties be reimbursed for these costs?
The Department of Finance will determine the cost for this election. That will be through the Secretary of State as well as to the county registrars to administer the election on November 4th.
Will they be paid in full upfront or left to bear the burden themselves?
The Secretary of State, I know perhaps we have folks here, or Madam Chair.
My understanding is the counties will be paid up front.
Is that in the language of the bill? Because counties like mine won't be able to do the election to the extent necessary.
As a former county elections official, this is something I care very deeply about, and we want to make sure the counties are made whole and they receive the funds up front.
So can we get that in the bill?
It is in the
It
bill.
is stated,
It is
that's so.
very,
Okay.
It is very clear that counties